Guys, for the late start. It's occasioned by the fact that the earlier program was a bit late as well, and people needed to have the lunch and come back and settle in. So I highly apologize, especially for the online audience that could be, especially on different time zones, including East Africa, where it's already 5 o'clock past office hours. So I highly apologize for that. Let me go straight to my presentation. I want to speak today about career development for women in tech during college and early stage career. The focus of this year's summit is this because it's really the place where you pick up your line, really, in terms of momentum, networks, just trying to understand your navigation. So we are using this opportunity to discuss this so that we can be able to, one, encourage mentors. A lot of people I can see in the room are mentors. You have people you mentor every day. And there are also people who can benefit from this who are online. But the beauty is that we also have AAU that is also doing a live cast for this presentation. So we believe that our audience will be rich regardless of where they are, and we'll also be able to propagate the recording in different ways to make sure that this conversation goes home. So I also want to thank our sponsors, the Internet Society, and also AFNOG for, and AIS, all our partners, for being with us in this journey. We've worked this journey for a very long time. If you've been in this main event this week, you'll notice that there are very few women that participate. The question is always, why are they few and what can we do about it? But for me, I believe that the most important thing is to increase the number of women so that there's always sufficient number that can opt in, because we know we have very many obligations and we are trying to balance. I really thank you for actually sacrificing your time to be here, and also, congratulate you for the privilege to be here, because as one lady told me, so many people would have wished to be here, but because maybe their jobs do not allow them to take off to come into this event, even as ladies, they could not join. They don't have that opportunity or the support to get. So that's why it's very important to have these conversations and to empower young people who are getting into the industry to see what to do about that. So the first thing I want to highlight here is that starting early matters, and people, females who are taking on computer science and related areas or STEM should really be proactive. And you'll agree with me, it helps to be starting early. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So you have to set your stage for success right at when you are in the university. Your attitude then is going to matter. And I think if you have a mentees or you're at this stage, you should know that what you're going to do today is going to give you capacity to propel yourself during this early career. So let me talk about the first area. The first area is skilling up. Okay, I'm going to highlight this in like 4 main topics for each of these stages. So skilling up. Many students, I understand right now, are either on holiday or are taking exams. The first thing is that we should encourage students, don't go home and sit down and do all the things we do for fun. Use those opportunities to take industry internship, even if it's not a requirement from the university during that holiday break. I remember when I was in the university, I told my parents, oh no, I'm not going to come home and just stay idle. I want to take up an internship. So I did internships for the 3 holidays that I had, not because the university required them, but just because of that. And out of that, I got a lot of experience. It was just a choice that I made, and I was lucky that my parents supported. But this is one of the things we should really encourage, because people taking on industry attachment, but I think now it's even better. People can do freelance work, even online. They can do part-time assignments, they can do remote work, they can volunteer. There's a lot of remote work now, which didn't exist when we went to school. And so these are the opportunities that young people can take to skill up when they're still in school, and also gives them an understanding of the industry in different ways. The other one is to look out and take different certifications in areas that I find interesting and curious about. So I remember when we were at the university, people took on a lot of certifications. One of the most popular then, because the internet was just emerging was like CCNA. There was also an appetite for how to set up ERP. So people took CPA, which is the Certified Public Accountant, or ACCA, which is the accountancy program. That was to complement them with their technology. So people should be encouraged to do things that they feel, if they have that competence, then it's going to help them. Then to try out personal and group projects on their own volition. I'm sure this is happening all over the world. You know, young people want to be in startups. They are participating in different activities to help them participate in projects. It should be highly encouraged because you then get to start little skills at that point, but you start to practice them in group setups, and it also teaches you to work in teams. Join competitions or hackathons for networking and exposure. I'm sure even here you hear hackathons at the university or in another university. I would like to say that by even going to that particular, even if you don't participate, just seeing what people are doing, you get exposure, you get to network. And most of the time, hackathons have the presence of people from the corporate world. So you get to network, you might find a mentor. These are some of the things to expose the young people in university to. Then contribute and grow by doing work in open source projects and similar community initiatives. I don't know how much familiar people are with open source projects, but in my early career, this is what really helped me grow. I would be part of each and every mailing list, just trying to understand what's happening. And so right now, you can go and join as any community and try and contribute in different levels, you know, and there are so many ways to contribute to a software project. Then there are also opportunities now abroad. So people should explore abroad. There are summer programs, there are international collaborations, there are exchange programs, even sometimes with their own universities that students are not aware of. So those are some of the things that people in college can do to be able to skill up. Then there's the part of showing up, right? We have to show up. Go to events hosted in college. You know, there are so many things that happen in college, but sometimes we are just in our little space. As you know, most of these careers, they're very almost for introverts, let me just put it that way. So, but it's good to encourage people because networking helps you to learn and to understand what's happening in the industry and exposure. And also joining volunteer, professional groups and social groups. I'm sure you have Rotary, Lions, Red Cross, St. John's Ambulance. All these are places where you'll find professionals. You may not find the technology professionals, but you'll find people who might be in HR, who might be in another faculty. And you know now, technology is everywhere. So we encourage students to develop their skills. Even church, by the way, is also another place to volunteer and actually get skills. And also volunteer in alumni. Most universities have these alumni networks where former students of those institutions or even your high school participate. But just showing up in these events or even looking for global technology events, and now there are even online events, you can actually participate. And this again gives you exposure, networking, and allows you to engage in dynamic environments. The other element is, again, the international programs. Some of them are not necessarily to be trained on a specific thing, but you will be able to go there and actually get exposed to different things. Some people are even doing community service in this kind of exchange programs, but it's a place to actually go and meet with fellow college students. Then we have this attitude of, you know, to seed lifelong networking with classmates. I just want to say that, I don't know, I have benefited a lot from people who I went to college with after finding them in the professional environment and I needed help. I recently navigated a very difficult situation at the Kenya Revenue Authority, courtesy of somebody who was on a totally different faculty, but I knew them. Because these are things you will need later in life. So one of the things to encourage is people should, have the attitude of, lifelong networking through classmates, professors. You'll need them for your recommendation letters to go to your graduate school, different things. And even they are your first referees, actually, when you're even looking up for a job. So fellow college mates across faculties, being part of university sports, guest lectures, inter-college activities. Sometimes in the technical field, we can shy away from these, but this is where you begin to get, traction with different schools at this level. Then again, I said abroad is offering many things in different formats. The other one is to be in the know, right? There's this expectation generally that if you're in technology, somebody can ask you a question or even ask you to fix their computer and you'll know what to do, right? Even if you're working for a technical organization, but in finance, people will ask you these things. And this is the general human attitude towards professionals who are working in this industry. So when you're in college, one of the best things to do is to be very adaptable, open-minded, agile, and ready to try new things. You know, that attitude is very important for the students because you are cutting across so many subjects. The other one is to monitor just technology trends and look through and see, take time to read news, blogs, publications, just be in the know about technology. Students should really be encouraged to do this. Then discover, existing and emerging areas of technology. We are all hearing about a very rich conversation around AI. Most people don't know where to fit, right? So the best thing is to go out there and actually discover what's existing, what's happening, what should I follow, Even follow people who are founders of this company so that you see what they are saying, That helps you to understand. And the beauty is that now we have X and places like LinkedIn where you can be able to follow these conversations where these things are happening. Again, to be in the know, sometimes you just have to broaden your horizon. And there are a lot of programs out there. So these are some of the things that the students should do, be in the know, so that then you actually keep up and know that. Now, I have something that I'm calling Fem Tips. These are purely for targeted towards females. So dedicate your time to personal and career progression and watch out for dating partners. When at this age, students have, it's a peak time for humans. So one of the things that happens is that as people socialize, they could actually miss out on time to develop themselves. So one thing that I like to tell students at the university is that you have to balance yourself out. And any partner who is going to listen to you, going to a conference, a training, and is able to understand then, will understand you in future when you to have such a career. And these are some of the times when people discover these things because as I can see, most people here are very experienced. So they've walked that journey where you had to balance a lot of things and you needed support. So how will you negotiate support if right from the word go, you already gave it in? Those are some of the challenges we have met. I've met very many ladies that I mentor, and these are some of the dynamics that they needed to navigate. So you can start early, and I like to say that, by providing this disclosure, it helps. So time is very precious at this stage, so it's very good to actually, try and create this balance. Then start identifying organizations with a purpose and a culture that matches your values and passion. That you can read from their website, you can see their publications or different ways, even they put their social media. You can tell the culture of an organization. And now you start to see, when I am at that level, these are some of the organizations that I would like to connect with. The other one is to start reviewing job descriptions of work you find interesting, and this helps you to understand the nature of jobs. Job descriptions are all over the internet. You can go there and just read and see, okay, so I want to work in this area, so this is the requirement. It helps you even to shape what you want to take. And then put yourself forward. One of the things that I have found is that when people place an application, if most ladies, and this is really not a fault of any particular one, but it's a societal thing, females tend not to apply when they don't have one qualification. Unfortunately, on the other side, males tend to apply even when they have 20% of the qualification. They just put themselves out there. I really want to encourage this reversal, because when we tell people that go ahead, even if you fail, you'll have learned something through the interview process. It's fine, because you are there to just put yourself out there and submit applications when you think you are not qualified, and at the same time adopt and have a learning attitude. Then look out for opportunities to learn soft skills and receive mentorship and learn to become more confident, self-assured, and gain a positive mindset. We are all coming from, when we are in below 18, generally, we are under the protection of our parents. Then when we get to college, we start to put ourselves out there. And the only other place we can go to is to the next level, which means that our parents will not walk with us to an interview room, right? So what does that mean? It means that you now have to start getting the skills that will actually present you. Many of them have that, but we all know that the Gen Zs, I don't know whether they're the same here, but the Gen Zs in our country, they are really nice, but they can be quite interesting as well. But I think these are global things. So how do you help yourself to know how to present yourself? So it's time to actually then, look for those things. And luckily, women, we were created with an advantage around soft skills, especially when we nurture them. So I like to say that's another area of our advantage. And then find a professional mentor. It could be your lecturer, a guest speaker in your college, your internship supervisor, and this will help you to share, to receive practical insights and offer career guidance. Then let's go quickly to what should you do once you are graduated, okay? You need to pick up quickly after graduation because it's more beneficial if you do that. So just drafting the CV makes a big difference. Anything that you did, you have to build on what you already did in college, you know. So ensure that your CV stands out, showing the power skills that you have, which is what I've talked about, things that make you, really good at soft skills and, confidence, ability to negotiate even your first salary, whatever it is, saying I can do this or I can fit in this team because you are interested, I'm a quick learner. These are the things that, a recruiter wants to hear so that they can put you in the long list, right? And that's where you want to be. So these are some of the things to do. And also show the projects, whether you volunteered or not, that you did, not just the one the college gave you, to actually, strongly show that you're there. Then understanding the recruitment process, their screening processes, their technical assessments, their interviews for technical and behavioral traits, asking and negotiating, follow-up and feedback gathering. These are the things that young people need to understand because they're doing that. And I agree with this is actually something that you need for any stage of your career progression. Then tap into networks that you previously got. Like if you go visit somebody who you met in a conference and was making a presentation and they gave you your card and say, I have just graduated and I'd be very interested in joining your organization. We met at this event. I promise you, if there's an opportunity, they'll tell you, right now, we only have an opportunity to recruit in this position. So that could help you get that. So these are some of the things that young girls and young ladies should be encouraged to do. Networking by joining online groups, events, boot camps, the same thing. You have to keep up the networking. You have to keep showing up because this is really what helps you to connect with the industry in a way that's relevant because now you're in the practical space. Then also take or apply strategic volunteer or internship opportunities. Sometimes in an organization, people are starting a project or a new innovation and they're trying to form a team, okay? And maybe they need one person to take the notes, all right? Something simple, but you are interested in that. So these are some of the things that help you to be identified as a different person in the organization. So I like to encourage young mentees that I deal with that this is the way to show up. Now, the other thing is continuously upskilling. I mentioned, understand the landscape. University and industry have a gap, not in Kenya, not in Ghana, globally, generally. But of course, different countries have different sizes of gaps. So what we need to encourage people is that people should be ready to skill up quickly and adapt, right? Because when you get a job, nobody is going to sit there and help you through everything. So you need to be ready to see how to get, use the internet and everything else that can help you. Then monitoring trends, again, very key. Taking on certifications based on what you have found is relevant and where you're developing interest. And also technical certifications, not just anything, because there are so many certifications these days that I see people doing LinkedIn. They're very nice, but there are some others that will be very critical. For example, if you're in cybersecurity, there is this ethical hacking certificate, which makes people stand out. So you may want to invest in that because you also have the energy to study. That is a big interest area. Then look out for global opportunities, remote work. Global big tech companies are expanding all over the world. I'm seeing people recruited up from Africa to sit in different locations, even in Europe or North America, UAE, wherever it is. I think people should be bold, open-minded. Some of these companies have robust, even HR policies to assist you with that. And sometimes you can take the risks when you are younger. So in terms of the FEM tips that I have for this is find women in tech and special interest support communities. Very important. Just being able to help you navigate wherever you are, try and find now people in industry because now you're no longer in college with your classmates. Find that could fit for you. Find and still keep in touch with your mentors. You'll need them to consult. Skill up to bridge your university industry gap with hands-on skills, and your confidence level will just go up automatically. If you were given a job and you find that I could not do it, I've taken this little course and now I can be able to do it, or this certification and now I can be able to do it, you'll just be confident. And that again already changes your opportunities. Then be authentic with yourself and don't be afraid to toot your own horn. Say, I am good at this. Don't be afraid. Sometimes people don't say it. Say, I am good at this and I would like to be part of this project. This is really important and it should be encouraged. Then if life happens to you, we know that life has so many demands, especially on females. Remember to give yourself compassion, own your own unique journey. Everybody's journey is different. And at the same time, Just aim to be the best cheerleader in your career. Be the one cheering yourself up, because sometimes you just need to lift your own spirit. So this is very important. And then go global. Like I said, apply for global scholarships, fellowships, travel grants, and training opportunities. There are so many. At this time, early stage, most people are youth and they are young. And the most opportunities that are available for sponsorship are actually for youth and women. So when more and more women apply, then the opportunities come their way. So here are some of the career paths that are currently, very clear that people can actually pursue. Software development, it doesn't matter which branch or which channel you want to use. Computer networks and infrastructures, from all these things that are actually actively being discussed here, to data centers, everything else, data science and analytics, cyber security, cloud computing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence and machine learning, governance, compliance and policy, technology entrepreneurship, which is what we call the startups, and human-computer interaction, which is where the people who are involved in UX, UI designs, focus. So these are all branches, and it's very important to be able to continuously skill and stay in the know of, if it's what you want to know, you can pick these desired paths. So in terms of my fem tips for this area, I can say that always keeping yourself relevant is really the secret here. Whatever you pick as your interest area, keep yourself relevant, all right? Then the other one is network. Be on someone's mind when they think of a great colleague or a new recruit. Try. Whether you are changing a role, it doesn't matter where you are. This is really important. Then seek mentorship for advice and for bouncing off thoughts or ideas. Sometimes you just need to check with somebody else. That's why it's good to join, women in tech communities. Birds of Feather groups are just like, small groups that are focused on the topics of interest you have in any of these, for example, career paths. And then hone your skills, explore new roles when they show up by volunteering, like I said, These are some of the ways to really do, like, if you want to know, is AI for me, And then something else is happening on AI, just show up in the project. Just say, I can support the project in this particular way. I'll create time if I'm allowed. And that helps you to go and understand that space better. So then, hone your power skills, communication, negotiating, problem solving, critical thinking, and leadership. Just try. There are a lot of online tools and courses that can help you get that. And then build on transferable skills, which means that skill or those skills can be applied differently in diverse roles and industries. There are some things that just cut across, right? You are in this industry, but like AI will cut across, right? So it doesn't matter where you are. There are so many things that, or project management can cut across, right? Or software development can cut across. So you decide, I want to be this because it can help me move from sector to sector, industry to industry, or role to role. So those are some of the things that I could highlight as ways to figure out your desired career path. And we have currently some current learning programs, and we are adding on them. We are also recruiting additional partners as AfChix, and we are also partnering with anybody who can contribute in whatever capacity to help us increase our learning and mentorship program capacity and reach for technical women. And you can go to the website and register for the ones that are there. If you feel like this is not for you, but definitely for your mentee, for your child, for somebody that you know, feel free to share with them so that they can be able to to benefit from the current programming that we have, which will continue to increase. So thank you very much. Those are my opening remarks for this and my coverage for the topic of what we can do for career progression. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, I'll allow the program to run.
Hello. How you
Hello.
doing?
I'm good.
I'm Maureen with ISOC Ghana. My question for you is, out of everything that you spoke of, thank you very much. It's very, very nice. But when it came to your tip number 2, on your last display, you said network, and network, and being on someone's mind. So my question is, how? Is there any specifics that you can give for someone like me or anyone even who is not very familiar with networking or maybe even comfortable or just not knowing what to do? Anything. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me respond to that first. Okay, so I think networking is very important. And what I mean by networking is like now we are in this room, right? There's probably going to be somebody who you've never met. The first thing is to show interest in somebody when it comes to networking, what they do, and probably what they care about. And just once you find a common interest or an area where you can support each other, keep in touch on that basis only. It's probably what we do with our friends, right? But we know everybody won't be your friend. They'll probably be acquaintance. But what we are trying to do is also let the other person know what about you, so that in that interaction, then they get to, support you. Because I'm a business person, there's a network called BNI, which is a network for business people. And what they usually would do is that they usually listen to each other and what each other business person does. And then when they go to places, they talk about that person's business. They don't talk about their own. So they look like they get people referrals. So when you connect people, or when you connect people with opportunities, they value you. And if they do the same, you value them. So what networking does is that it can help you, find a mentor, because in the process you'll find somebody who would love to mentor. You might find somebody who can be a mentee. A lot of things we take for granted would actually benefit someone. Not, and we were just speaking yesterday about how mentee-mentor relationship is symbiotic. It's both ways. You could meet me and I'm struggling with something, but I'm your mentor. And in the process of discussing, you tell me some health tip that would change something in my life. So this is what I mean by networking, like just trying to be having authentic conversations that help you to people to connect with you and people to find value in your interaction, because that's the only reason you'll be able to keep in touch. This is my version of how to keep the networks going. Yes.
All right, thank you. Sorry, it was an inspiring and robust teaching. But I want to ask, I saw one in one of this subtopic, setting up from the university, right? I saw one of the heading, setting up from the university. Something has to do from the university. Yeah, why you are in university. Now, I have an interaction with secondary school children, where they are being delusioned that don't go towards technical courses, let's go towards business courses because they are for men. So I'm thinking that it's better we catch them young from the secondary school arena where their idea has been delusioned, so that they can be properly aligned. After all, from that secondary school, they can be well counseled to choose the required discipline before getting to the university. I don't know if I'm right.
You are very right. That intervention, and Barbara will be speaking later about our Women in Leadership program. It's very true. During that stage, which is the teen years, it's very complicated for young girls, and also the social norms in terms of encouragement. And you're right. What we've done in that is that we encourage a lot of role modeling. What happens is that a lot of us, I like to say, have seen doctors. So I can choose to be a doctor because I have been seeing a doctor since I was a child. So I can relate to what a doctor looks like, what they're doing. But what about the engineer who built an app on the phone or on the device, or on one of your games? You've never met this kind of person. So when you do role modeling, you bring like professionals to the school, and they see, and these children ask questions. They see a normal human being, a normal woman who looks like them, dresses like them, still looks everything and is able to do that. So they don't then forgo their interests because they feel like they cannot relate to it. And the idea of it's hard goes away because they'll be like, if she did it, I can do it. So role modeling is very powerful at that stage, and encouraging programs that do that. But I may also add that father figures in girls' lives really make a big difference, because at that time is when you encourage them a lot and affirm them and tell them, you can be whatever you want. And I think this word, right from the Bible, they just hear it, that if my father thinks I can be, then I will be. Or if my grandfather or somebody else that they really respect, or my maths teacher, this really helps. So one of the other things is just to encourage a lot of positive and affirmations to these young girls, so that the ones who are interested, they don't shy away because of the social vibe. They actually speak up themselves. In our career mentorship workshops for high school girls, we used to tell the girls, if somebody tries to talk you out of that interest, you can call us, and we'd give them our numbers. And they used to call us during the holidays. So that's the other thing. So if you're helping or you have that, offer that. And because these people are just looking for someone to talk to them at that point and make a decision. So I think those are some of the support mechanisms that can really help.
Yes, my name is Florence, and I have 2 questions. I'm from Mobile Web Ghana. We work with girls. We do girl code hackathons. We do a couple of activities, mentorship for girls. And I want to ask how you deal with some of the challenges that occur in the field. For instance, my first question was related to the question that he asked, that a lot of girls perceive science, mathematics as a technical course reserved for purely men, and it's a myth in their head. And until you are able to eradicate that myth, even if you bring them in a room for a free course, it still doesn't help much. And one of the things I think that can be helpful, because tech is not purely technical. There are other side of technical, both the non-technical aspect and the technical aspect. So I want to still, you've mentioned role modeling. If there is anything you could add, that would be good. The second question is, I see that some of your courses are online. How do you ensure that they are effective and these girls graduate and they have a real skills? Because I'm thinking that being on Zoom for this event and not being physically, there is much difference. And so how do you ensure that bringing the girls online, learning online is effective and can achieve the target goal that you've set for yourself? Thank you.
Okay. So the first question on how to just support them beyond what I said, I had something that came to my mind that I wanted to tell you about, but it was just an example of what I can do. But let me just answer the last question, then I'll pick up that question again for clarity. So these online courses provide for flexibility. And there are many reasons why females don't take up even free opportunities. Sometimes it's not that they don't want to empower themselves, but there are a lot of demands, there are a lot of mindsets that come with how they navigate. So the way we structured this program is that there'll be on-demand courses, virtual instructor-led programs, webinars, mentorship webinars, and physical webinars, but also physical. Physical tend to be expensive because it comes with a cost of venue and everything else, not able to do that. So we are trying to spread across. And also the reason why we're also seeking partners is because some people already have infrastructure where the students are. So you can actually take the offering where the community is in terms of collaboration. So I would say that the programming that we provide here, you'll see the courses that, I don't know if you know about the tutorials that happen in AFNOG. Those are the same ones we are offering. But because what people are now doing is that they are doing consoles where you can actually do the hands-on right from the online learning environment. Thanks to COVID, people who provide learning had to adapt. And so there's been significant development in learning environments, especially for hands-on programs. So those are some of the things we are leveraging. But you're right. Physical presence allows you to network here, while in online you won't be able to do that. And let me just say that I think it's good to spread yourself across based on what's possible, including not missing out on all the opportunities. So you're right. That's why we are talking about, show up whenever possible. Please repeat whatever you mentioned the first time. I want to just click back on what I thought would be an additional response. Okay, yeah, so I remember. So I think today the world is a lot more dynamic. Like people are joining these programs even later in life, right? Career changes are possible, right? So what I like to tell people is that if you miss the bus because at college level you could not take it and you decided to go into medicine, into law, into finance, I have seen people actually go and change their career later. You can do it in your postgraduate, you can take a certification and change, you can self-teach and join. And I've seen people changing like that. So one of the things I can say is that as long as you're self-driving, you're trying to be in control of your career, even later stages, which is why this early career is very important, you can do that. I mean, I remember this gentleman telling us, I studied medicine, but that was for my father. Now, um, he's actually doing recycling. I went in to study some additional engineering because I wanted to be in the, you know, environmental fields, but my father felt like with my brilliance, he could only support me to study medicine, but I was not interested. So I think those are things that are still opportunities within our lifetimes. Yeah. Thank you. Are we done? Oh.
Any questions from our online folks? No questions, okay.
Hello. Hi. I'm here. It's me again. Yes. So Cedric from Afrinic. Um, Part of my day-to-day job is to work with technical communities. So in that particular case, so AfChix and all the chicks actually fall under the communities that I work with. But something that always amazed me is that when you organize an event for the women, you have more men showing up lots of time than women themselves, which actually puzzled me a lot. I've been working, for instance, with GamChicks, so the Gambia chapter, and for one whole year we have organized webinar. Like every last Friday of the month, we have organized webinars, especially for them. The email was sent, I mean, the information was sent to the community and everybody, but it was mostly men attending the meeting and the event, which was very, very sad, according to me. And part of the thing also, the sad things that I've realized is once I was in a meeting, it was more like a planning meeting, trying to figure out what can be done as like a planning for online courses or even in-person courses. And while I was proposing, I would say, ongoing discussion. What I received as a feedback was like, oh, we are more interested into Word and Excel course.
In what again?
Word, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint course. And I was like, why do you want to limit yourself to something that you can get on YouTube? Meanwhile, there are so many discussions where women should be present, like internet governance, internet ecosystem, AI, legislation, regulation. That's where we want to see women. We want to see them being part of the discussion. We don't want to only see men there. We want to see more women. We want to see more women involved when it comes to internet exchange point, data center, connectivity, name it. There are so many technical topics. But something that I really struggle with is how can I make sure that even though I'm trying to support from the background, how can we encourage for women to really seize those opportunities? I know that personally, I mean, in my career path, I've been working with a lot of women as part of my team, and I can assure you that they have performed as well, or sometimes even better than the men in my team. So for me, I'm very confident that women can do the job. But now I'm facing another challenge, which is how can I invite more women to attend those events? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So this is not a unique problem to you, Cedric. I want to just say that it's a challenge that exists. We also find the same challenge. Even registrations can happen and the women will not show up. I think part of it has to do with commitments. There are a lot of non-written, non-spoken commitments that women tend to deal with. And when they start to do their time allocation at a specific hour, you will lose them because of those commitments. And it doesn't have to just be family. And it starts from very early in life. I don't know how the culture is in your country, but in my country, a lot of girls grew up helping with a lot of chores while boys are not necessarily called to that. So naturally, they will also allocate themselves to these chores. And like, for example, if there's like a graduate who has a home, has a house, like just like a guy and they are, spinster, they're just single. A lady will go and decide it's time for me to cook. A man might decide I'll take the lunch from outside, but a lady will say I have capacity to make myself a fresh meal. The man might decide I don't have capacity to do that. So consequently, you see, she will allocate the time to make her clean meal or food vis-a-vis going to that. That means missing that session. So you can see the kind of dynamics that come. So I feel that I don't have the full answer to that. Actually, part of the things we are doing in this program is we have acknowledged that until we increase the number that he was talking about, right from high school, primary school almost, we will never see an increase because we were already very few. When I came for this event yesterday, I counted. When I get into these rooms, I count how many ladies are in this room. And I said, oh, it's the same way. It's always like a 90-10%, rate. And I said to myself, okay, this is not changing. I think we just have to increase the number of women who get interested. And that way we start to see progression. But the other thing is also to, through monitoring and evaluation, see what is it that is causing that. Apart from just opinions, factually, what considerations could we provide to help them be participants by picking their feedback? And so one of the things we are doing within this program that AfChix is currently doing, the Women in Leadership program, which means that we want to see the women all the way to leadership, is we want to kind of just collect enough feedback to tell us what could we do differently to accommodate the demands on a woman or the nature of the life of a female, so that then they are being themselves, but still succeeding. Because at the end of the day, we have to support. And some of that might mean policy changes, but I think most of it has a very strong historical, social, cultural connotation. Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, so there's a question online. If you don't mind, let me read it quickly. If my interest is in PWD, that is people living with disability, particularly girls that are deaf, how would you advise I go about mentorship if majority of the tech survey that will be possible mentors do not know sign language, and majority of the women that speak sign language don't usually want to take part in tech careers? So yeah, that's the question.
Wow, that sounds like a room for us to actually really create special interest groups for that category of women. I know one lady in Kenya, she's been part of the AfChix community for a very long time, called Judy Okite, who's actually doing something on that. But I also know that there's a program that Mozilla has been running, I think, under the foundation to support PWD. Those are the things that's what I can point to. But they can just drop us an email to see whether we can be able to connect them with these communities so that they can find community. Finding community is important.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. My name is Sandra, and I represent Women in Tech Ghana. I wanted to ask a question, but I wanted to also ask a follow-up question on what the gentleman asked. Do you think the organizations or the companies that these women work in may play a role in pushing them or encouraging them to attend or participate in or represent in such programs. I'm asking this because the organization I work in, we have a gender and social inclusion department or a unit. And this unit kind of promotes more women and encourage them to take part. So when there are programs like this, they select women to attend and it encourages other women to be part. So I just wanted to find out whether you think the organization or the companies that these women, especially professional women, play a role in getting more representation at events such as this. But my other question has to do with volunteering. You mentioned that when you were talking about some of the setting up policies in the universities. I realized with the kind of job I do currently, I realized that when it comes to volunteering, you find a lot less people opting for this. The reason I personally feel, and that is my view, I feel it's because those roles don't come with remuneration or pay. So you find a lot less youth wanting to go into volunteering or even internship because there's nothing, no monetary value or anything attached to it. How do we encourage? Because this is where they learn. This is where they get exposure. This is where they are able to network. But our youth want to be paid for everything they do. So you find less people wanting to volunteer and do these roles that would also help them to scale up and to learn more. How do we solve these problems? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your input around the organizations and policy. Actually, many large companies have very robust HR policies that include equality and gender equality for that purpose. And now there's also what people are calling ESG. I think there was called diversity and inclusion in other parts of the world. But I remember not too long ago, somebody raised a question on whether really this is still an issue, the issue of women, because in their organization, they didn't feel this. But that's because they were privileged to be working in an organization that had these robust, elaborate systems that take care of those imbalances, like you said, is happening in your organization. Those sustainability approaches as what is really creating space for that. But we are not there. Actually, I think very few African countries can say their large organizations have sufficient HR policies to help. And this is our location. This is where we live, you right? So I think that's why we mentioned that AfChix, as part of our gender development program, we are working to support organizations through gender equality plans, ways to actually structure a change in the organization with some KPIs, because we realize that if you help the leaders who want to make a change, then they will implement something. But sometimes they hear it, they know it's a good thing, but it's just not the norm to say, I want to do this. Only very bold leaders who, apparently most of them are also men, are able to do that. So I think it's very good that even as we do talk about advocacy, we also support private sector to find mechanisms to do that by providing different dialogues. And I think ESG is one of the things that's going to help that happen, but for proactive organizations that are bound. On your second question on you talked about the volunteers. So I agree with you. A lot of people, especially young people, they want to volunteer if there's a pay, but that's because many opportunities come. I mean, I don't know whether it's happening in Ghana, but in Kenya, for example, we have the politicians doing handouts. So because of that, there's a whole culture that has emerged around expecting a cash reward. But sometimes the reward won't be cash, but it's so valuable. So it's about educating people that value is based on where you place it. Because if I give you $10 today, how long will you take to consume that? But if I give you a skill, if I give you a network, what will you benefit from in terms of that? So just trying to help people understand and navigate those by creating the right conversations would actually help young people to feel guided that there's time to get the volunteer opportunity that gives you a stipend, and there's time to actually do it for yourself because you gain better. So that's my opinion on that. Yeah. I think we should stop.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, we can do better. So thank you very much to our online audience as well for being active and engaging. And for those of us here as well, let's give ourselves a round of applause. Okay, so we'll move right into the panel discussion. And the topic is the value of mentorship for women in university and early stage careers. So to do us the honors, the moderator will be Miss Ivy Masese, who is the community manager for AfChix. Please let's give her a round of applause as she comes.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing great. I'm so happy to see you here. You're all looking really beautiful today, and I hope you'll enjoy the next session. So, allow me to introduce our panel discussion. I'm going to introduce everyone individually, and then later they'll tell us what they do. That way, you can get to know them a bit better, and later, if you want to network with them, at least you have a personal touch with them. So I'm going to start with Miss Luvina Sarah, who is the President, Women in Tech Ghana. Kindly give her a round of applause as she comes in. The next person I'm going to introduce is Miss Georgette Kissi, who is the AG Head IT Security and Planning at University of Ghana. Kindly give her an applause as she comes in. And finally, I'm going to introduce Miss Georgina Mason, who is a software developer at the Association of African Universities right here in Ghana. So give her a round of applause as she comes in. And then this is our final lady. She's very beautiful. So make sure you scream as she comes. I'm joking. Allow me to introduce Miss Nana. She's she's a HR executive at Talo, Ghana. Please give her a round of applause as she comes in. So I did promise you we have beautiful ladies, and the good thing about them is they're not just beauty, they're also brains. So you're going to learn from them today as much as possible. So be sure to have your questions ready. I am going to be the moderator for this session. So feel free to just enjoy the session as much as possible. Keep your questions at hand. And later, we are going to have a nice Q&A session where you're going to ask your questions personally, and they can be able to address it. So thank you, everyone. Is there an extra microphone right there? Okay, perfect. So I think we're ready to begin the session. Let me just sit down. So as I said, we have the HR expert, Miss Nana. We have who is a senior HR business partner at Talo Ghana Limited. We have Miss Georgina Mason. We have Miss Luvina. Please, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Unfortunately, I'm Kenyan, or fortunately. So the way we pronounce our names is not the same way you pronounce your names right here in Ghana. And then we finally have Miss Georgette Kissi, and I really hope you're going to pay attention to these ladies. So good afternoon and welcome to a panel discussion on the value of mentorship for women in university and early stage careers. And then we gather here in memory of Ms. Nodumo Dhlamini, whose dedication to supporting women in technology continues to inspire us. And today we'll explore how mentorship can transform careers, break barriers, and finally bring stronger connections within communities across Africa. So I hope you're all ready. And I guess we are ready to start our questions. Yay! So we are going to start with everyone. Everybody's going to answer this. So can you tell us about a mentorship moment, either as a mentor or a mentee, that significantly shaped your career in tech? I think we can start with you, Miss Nana. Oh, let's start with Luvina. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Luvina Sandra Achu. Yes, and you didn't made up my name, so no problem. I work with the Electricity Company of Ghana with the IT department. I've been in the support directorate for almost 15 years now. I also work with Women in Tech as a volunteer and the president for the Ghana chapter. And thank you for your question. So I had to give this background because I am a product of mentorship. So when I was called to be on this panel, I found it a privilege and also found a great opportunity to share my experience with those online and anybody here. I grew up as a very shy person. I didn't think I could go out and even sit in front of people like this. I didn't have that confidence until I was exposed to a program, and I'll share with one of the panel members. I went for a Women in Engineering program about 4 years ago. And that was the first time I was on a panel discussion, and I felt like my world was going to come to an end. I didn't know how I'll sit in front of people, talk and dialogue with other women. But I got someone who was a mentor in my organization, a woman who had been leading the Women in Engineering unit in my organization. She's actually someone I'd always been looking up to, because I always asked myself how she was able to go far and at the same time be able to manage a family. So when she asked me to come on this panel, I took that bold step, and I believe that step changed my life, because at that summit, I saw a lot of women from various backgrounds, women with a lot of experiences, women who had PhDs, women who were doing amazing things. And look, here I was at that moment thinking of just being someone with a BSc degree and just taking care of my family. That was my mentality. But that inspiration that I got from that program changed my mind. And I was inspired to go out of that box that I had created for myself for a while. And it was that aspect of my life that also made me now start searching for a group of women with the same mindset as me, or with the same challenges as me, to be part of. That's where I found Women in Tech Global. It was a global group of women in various disciplines. We had women in tech, we had women in arts, and women in engineering, and all the other disciplines that you could think of. But I realized they didn't have any chapter here in Ghana. And here am I, a very shy person, a very reserved person, going out and asking for the opportunity to start a chapter here. That should tell you that mentorship that I had, whether it was direct or indirect, kind of changed the perception that I had about life, and also transformed me to become a better person. And I see myself as somebody who always grows, because day in, day out, I learn new things, I interact with new people, I get exposed to better opportunities that transform my life. So for me, just that opportunity of being part of a group or a program that exposed me to other women like me who were doing things that I didn't think I could do, brought that thing out of me, that thing that was hidden that I didn't know was there. And it pushed me to go the extra mile of even going to start a Women in Tech Ghana chapter, something I never thought I could. So the mentorship I had from my role model, I call her my role model, because she pushed me out of my box. That transformed my life, and this is where I am because of that. So that is my story. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Georgette Kissi. I work with the University of Ghana with the IT Directorate. I work with the IT security unit as the acting head. I also work with Cyber Girls. It's a group, and we do mentorship for girls. I'm also a mentor and a mentee with Women in Cybersecurity Global. So talking about mentorship. I grew up with the mantra of, so that's my personal mantra, be the mentor you wish you had. So that's one thing that pushes me to do mentorship and to mentor people. Because growing up, I didn't really get the mentor, and I didn't really get mentorship to move or to guide me during my career path. So I started as a network engineer, and at a point, I wanted to do cybersecurity. So after my cybersecurity education and training, I came back, didn't know where to start. It was my mentor who actually guided me. She told me I could do it. She gave me tips, and she directed me and told me how possible it is to do it. So I would say it's a mentor that actually made me believe in myself to branch into another field in tech. So before joining cybersecurity and then after, it was a mentor that actually helped me to be here. Yeah. Thank you.
So I am Georgina Diana Mason, and I work as a software developer at the Association of African Universities. Unlike Georgette, I would say I had a lot of mentorship in my life growing up. And I would like to emphasize that I don't just mean career mentorship, I mean like in parts of my entire life. I grew up knowing that I could do anything and everything that I wanted. My parents opened me up to a lot of opportunities where I didn't think that anything could actually stop me from getting to where I wanted to go to. Another key thing I also remember is before I went into university and applying, I had my big brother with me helping me fill the forms, and he's in tech. And so he's like, no, you're going to do a bachelor's in information technology. And here I was thinking, oh, I would rather do business because I love math and I want to do something where I can be doing some formulas and calculations. Like, no, go into tech. And I'm like, okay. So I get admitted into school. I'm doing my tech courses, and I find out, oh, it's actually not as difficult. It's easy. My sister is doing computer science. So everything just seemed quite normal for me. If I had any questions with class, I would call her. She would help me with homework and everything. Now I graduate, right, and I get into the working environment, and I meet the queen, Miss Nodumo Dhlamini, and she's my boss. And this woman was so great as a mentor. She actually she would not even make you feel like you're being mentored. It just feels like normal interactions. But there's so many things that she says and she does that pushes us. For instance, in meetings, I just give an update of what I've done, and she say, "Thank you very much." And I'm like, okay, but this is my job. Why are you thanking me to do this? And it made every little thing I feel significant and important for the organization. And I think that was a very key thing for me to experience, because she would say, if she were here, that when I started working, I was very shy and very unsure of my skills. But hearing thank you all the time, hearing it being repeated that, oh, you did a great job, just made me feel like, yes, I actually can keep doing this and I'm good at it. And that was a very key point for me in my career. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nana Obindra. I'm a senior HR business partner with Talo. I've been in HR for over 11 years. And so today I'm just going to be speaking to you from an HR lens and a recruiter lens, which is quite in line with the theme for today's program. So in terms of mentoring, it's such a key aspect of personal development. I'm not sure there is anybody who has succeeded to the very top without some form of mentoring. For me, it's usually the small and simple things. A mentor for me is someone who I can trust, someone who believes in me when I don't believe in myself. And I'm sure on the basis of that, we can think of several people who we can call mentors. For me, it's important that at every stage in your career, there are certain hard decisions that need to be taken. And these decisions form the basis of our careers, if you want. And at the point of making these decisions, there are people who have significant experience that you can tap into to help you know for yourself whether you are making the right decisions or not. Ultimately, you have to make those decisions. Your mentor cannot force you to make those decisions, but it is through their experience and the exposure that you have that guides you to make these decisions. So I would just recall very early on at the point where I needed to make a decision around my first degree. I had the opportunity to go into my first year, but I didn't have the chance to do like a Monday to Friday kind of study. I had a weekend option. So here I was, just spending time at home during the week and just going to school on Friday evenings. And then there was this older woman who was a senior in HR who just told me, why don't you, find something to do during the week? And for me, that was the turning point. And I'm just going to take that back to the fact that looking at me, and you're probably wondering, how do you have 11 years experience in HR? It's just because I started working from my very first year. So by the time I was done with university, I had 4 years of experience, which put me at an edge versus my colleagues who spend virtually the entire 100% of their time in school. So it's important that whenever you have these major decisions, you resort to people who see beyond what you see based on the experience that they have. And that's what I would like to share.
Okay. Lovely, lovely. Clearly we have experts over here. We've had mentors who it does not start from university, it starts from home. They help you make decisions, and clearly you've seen how much it's impacted and informed the positivity that they've experienced in their lives. So thank you so much for answering that question. I think we can proceed to the next question. And this question is going to be directed to Miss Mason. Are you ready? Okay, perfect. So being early career and the youngest in the workforce in this panel, what kind of mentorship did you wish you had access to during your studies?
Okay, so during my studies, I think what I would have loved was access to more opportunities, know about events like this that I could participate in, find actually groups that I could join and listen to. So in school, it was more about the learning and the books and everything, and my mentorship was mostly from my sister and my elder brother who are already in tech, but that is also quite limited and saturated. So if I could have opened up and joined more groups like these, I think I would have had more opportunities to express myself and understand how best I could grow in the career.
Okay, perfect. And maybe if I can just ask another question right on top. If there's something you could maybe encourage companies to do from your perspective as a student when it comes to mentoring, what would you encourage them to do when it comes to approaching university students?
Okay, so most of our universities, I believe, will do career fairs where they would invite companies to come and speak and would focus on, oh, let's help you write your CV. But they don't actually put an emphasis on mentorship. If you want to be mentored, if you want to progress, you would have to open yourself up and find teachers who or lecturers who are good in your area to reach out to. But that doesn't help if you're shy, if you're reserved. And these companies from the career fairs I went to would not even look at me and say, this is what we need in a potential employee. They just say, oh, write a CV and bring it. And here I am in a university student with very little work experience. My CV would not say much. And so it would not represent who I am as a person and where I want to go. So I believe that our career fairs should be more focused on building the students' capacity and knowledge on what is expected in the job market.
Thank you so much. That's a lovely answer. I hope anybody within the industry, university can see what we can do to improve this field. And maybe that way we can increase the mentorship space and even build the capacity of students. So the next question is going to be directed to Ms. Luvina. So as a woman in tech leadership, what role should industry professionals play in mentoring women while they're in university? So it's almost similar, but now from your perspective.
Okay, thank you. So I think it's similar to what she said. And I thank her for mentioning that when she was in school, it was mostly about the learning. It's mostly about the learning for most students. It's about just making the grades and getting out of that environment. But from my perspective as a woman in tech professional or a volunteer, I feel that what most of these organizations need to do, she said that, but what the other things that they must do is to have more engagement with these students. For example, Women in Tech Ghana, that's a lot of student engagement. Because I say this because I have had that problem where when I was in school, it was just about doing maths, physics, and computer science and nothing else. You know, it's like you want to just make the grades and you don't have time for anything else. But the more engagement you have with students, like this exposure that we are having where you are told some of the prospects that you can have out of the university when you are done with your programs, in addition to just getting the technical knowledge or the academic knowledge that you want. If you give them all the opportunities available in terms of soft skills as well, because in the universities, nobody teaches you about communication. Nobody teaches you about negotiation. Nobody teaches you about problem solving. It's just about the courses that you are doing, the subjects that you are pursuing. So for organizations like us, our role is to partner with these companies, institutions, and go out there and expose it, talk to the students, engage them more, let them know what is out there, so that when they come out, they are able to do more than just the book knowledge that they have. Let me use myself. I like to use myself as an example. When I was in school, it was just about learning. I didn't have time for anything. I virtually didn't have time. Anybody who knows me in school knows that Luvina is very quiet and she's all about the books. I didn't even know there were programs like these for students like me. So it was just about learning. And so when I finished school, I realized the gap she talked about when she was doing her presentation, it was really obvious to me, because just from school to the working environment, there was a huge gap. Here you are with just theory, and you go to the field and you have to put into practice what you have learned. And then you find that you don't have that experience at all. So for organizations like us, what we have to do is to encourage them to do more skilled courses. For example, we have emerging technologies, AI, all these other ones that are there. How do these students get exposure to these things? Women in Tech and other organizations have free courses and free programs that these students can take at their convenient times. If we don't tell them, they would not know. So we just need to let them know what prospects are available, what options they have as students, in addition to the programs that they are taking in school. And the benefits that they will get from engaging is not just telling them. If you expose them to the fact that they have free courses or maybe Coursera on some sponsored programs that they can run, and you don't let them know the benefits, they will not be motivated to go and take it up. But if they know that when I take this, these are the career paths that I can take. If I go for these roles, I'm able to speak in public. I'm able to express myself. Then I become confident. And when I go to the boardroom as a leader, I'm able to speak out because I have taken some skills in leadership. I've taken some short courses in confidence building. So organizations like us, our role is to partner more with these private and public sectors, so we are able to put our synergies together to go and then engage more with the students in whether the tertiary levels, the secondary schools, even the basic levels, where we do the role modeling, so that they know from the onset the career paths, the opportunities, the programs, and even the soft and hard skills that they have exposure to. Then they are able to they are well informed as to the path to take before they get to the after university process, where they now have to fill a gap where they didn't even see coming. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luvina. Such lovely answers. And both of you have somehow emphasized the importance of being all-rounded and the part we have to play in ensuring that every student is a bit well-rounded before they finally join in on the field. So thank you so much. The next question is going to Miss Nana. Are you ready? Okay. So as she continues getting the microphone, from a HR perspective, what specific gaps do you commonly see in early career women that better mentorship could address, particularly around interview preparation and career readiness? So what gaps have you seen that mentorship could
All
address?
right. So a lot has been said around what companies can do, and I really love your question as to the gaps that we also see from an HR perspective. It's important to understand that companies exist to make profits, and companies hire for value. Okay, so in as much as a lot of times companies want to develop people, the company also needs to meet that bottom line. And so for me, I would say that individuals or ladies or young women who are starting their careers need to know what they are offering a company. So once you are interested in a particular company, their purpose, their culture aligns with yours, you need to start investigating or researching that company to understand how you can create value for them. Because once you are able to do that, you already have one foot through that door. So that's dovetails into the gaps that we see in terms of confidence, in terms of being able to understand or appreciate what your strengths are. A lot of times when we interview young people for internships, you realize that one key gap is their ability to convey who they are, right? By who they are, not in terms of physically or anything, but in terms of what they will be bringing on board the organization. Because remember, there is an investment of time and effort that the line manager would need to put in to bring you up to speed with the rest of the team. And so if you are not able to communicate what your key strengths are, what your capabilities are, it makes it harder for the organization to bring you up. The other thing that I would also want to highlight has to do with the ability to also have that initiative. A lot of young people want things done for them. And I say this with a lot of experience. So they want you to train them, they want you to do this, they want you to do that. But currently, we are in a time where information is more available than ever before. And so for me, I don't think anybody has an excuse any longer in terms of not being aware of what is available. I think what is important is to position yourself in a way where you are able to be visible. Okay, so that's another challenge that I see in terms of a gap. Very good women come into the organization, but once they get a job, they withdraw or they go back into their shell and they get intimidated at the table because there's a lot of men at the table. They don't speak up any longer. And then you realize that you are losing that very bright woman you saw at the interview. And then as time goes on, family settles in, maybe she gets married or she gets settled into her career, and then that ambition just quietly dies down. So I think it's just important to continually be aware, continually position yourself to create value wherever you find yourself. And that's always the key to keep yourself up in your career.
Thank you so much, Nana. I think we can have the next question to Miss Georgette. Are you ready? Perfect. So as a supervisor in a tech organization, what are the unique mentorship needs you've observed for early career women?
Thank you for the question. So what I do with my unit and the university is, one, being intentional with the interns when they come in. So there's a program we have for interns, not just the technical bits, but then we do soft skills building and then the mentorship bits. So if I'm not able to mentor you based on your career path, I make sure to link you with people with that skills. So I don't just do mentorship and then I don't just leave them if I can't mentor them. I try to link them with suitable mentors. So that's one thing I do. Secondly, we deliberately collaborate with faculty members where I get into to do a presentation to them, let them know what's happening on the ground, so that it won't be just the academics, just like Lovina and then Georgina said, they get to relate to the industry and they get to relate to what happens in the industry. So by so doing, they get to talk to you. And they also come in, even when school is in session, they are always coming in. They don't just leave when they are done with the internship. You get them coming in, talking to you about their projects, even about the topics they want to pick, even to the extent that they want you to go through their final projects, even go through their reports for you. And sometimes I get them to do presentation before the final presentation. Mm-hmm. So that's how far the mentorship goes with students. And adding to what I have said, I think there is a bit where you would have to be intentional with these mentees. You have to be intentional with them and let them know what you can accept and then what you cannot accept. Just like Nana said, they mostly would want you to do everything for them. They want you to do everything for them. So you just let them know how far you can go with them as a mentor, and then allow them to also do their best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And just before you hand over the mic, what advice would you give to mentors about preparing their mentees for the job market and early career advancement? You've spoken about soft skills. That is something that is unique to you. You've taken the initiative to prepare them. Is there something that you've seen in your journey as a mentor that you think this is something that should be incorporated almost everywhere as these ladies come in, or gentlemen, just to prepare them over time in their journey?
So I would say know yourself, know your personality, know what you can take. Because there are a lot of fields in tech, a lot of fields in IT. The fact that you think this job or this field in tech is okay, or it sounds nice, like being a network engineer, and you can't even do that. So if you know yourself and you know your personality, it will guide you on what to do. If we look at the field in cybersecurity, there are a lot of fields in cybersecurity. We have the pen testers, we have people who basically do awareness. So if you're an introvert and then you want to go into a field where it will require you to do opposite to your personality, I think you would struggle. So if you know your personality, and then it will guide you to choose a career path, because your personality will complement what you do. If you are not that type and they put you out there to talk, you will struggle. You will struggle. Although there's an opportunity for you to learn and then build yourself, but your personality, I think, is the first thing you should look out for to choose a career, whilst you are building on other skills to be out there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've emphasized on something beautiful, understanding yourself. Because I'm trying to imagine working in a field that requires a lot of interaction, yet you're not really good at that. So thank you so much for that. And finally, this is a question to all panelists. So each of you is going to give your perspective on this. What practical steps can organizations, universities, or any other stakeholders, whether individual women or people working in private or public organizations, take to create more structured mentorship opportunities? What structures do you think need to be put in place when it comes to mentorship, basically? I think we can start with Miss Luvina.
Thank you so much for the question. And I wanted to highlight on the fact that as an organization, we have a structured mentorship program, and it's global. So it involves all chapters across the globe. And looking at that structure, which I've been part of for about 7 months now, upon joining Women in Tech, I think I would advise, this is the advice I'll give based on what I have experienced with this structure, organizations to also kind of leverage on it. So this structure is actually, it's tailored towards the youth. So you have mentors being aligned with, paired with their mentees. And the pairing is done based on the profile that you give about yourself, whether you're a mentor or a mentee. So you tell them your strengths, your weaknesses, what your future aspirations are, what your expectations are, what your career path, where you want to go, and some of the additional things you want to add to the knowledge that you already have. And the pairing is done by using an algorithm. So it's not done by a human being. So you are paired with whether you're a mentor, you are paired with your mentee based on the profile that you have built and what you have said that you are looking out for. And they look for a mentor who has the same profile as you or kind of closely matched, so the two of you are paired together. And the structure is such that you are paired with a mentor for 3 months. During this period, there's a lot of feedback, there's a lot of monitoring. So you are at liberty with as to how you want to engage with your mentor, the number of times you want to meet with your mentor, the number of engagements you want to have. This structure has worked because you have people from different backgrounds, different cultures, with different experiences coming together to pair up and share ideas and build each other up. What I would advise that organizations, institutions, corporations do is to be able to come together and collaborate. We have people doing different things, but we are all working towards the same goal. What I have seen from where I sit is that everybody is doing something different, but the end goal is to be able to empower younger people and get them to look up to people that they want to become like and pair them together so that they share ideas and experiences. So I feel there should be collaboration. So everybody has to come together and there should be a structure. This is what we are going with. Okay, so if it comes to the time, how many times should you meet as a mentor with a mentee? How many weeks, how many sessions should you have? How are we going to monitor the sessions? Because it's very important. It's not just having two people paired together, one provide guidance to the other person. There should be a monitoring system, a well-structured monitoring system that is able to get feedback as to whether the mentorship program is going well, whether each party is getting the value that they are looking for, and all that. And also when it comes to the pairing, if we are able to get a system to do that, based on the profiles that we build ourselves as individuals. It will help in not just pairing people because they have similarities or they have the same vision, but you can also pair people because there are weaknesses that can be met by a mentor being paired with one mentee. So if there's collaboration, everybody comes together so that we don't have things in isolation. We all come together, put in a structure that is well monitored, that provides proper feedback and also provides rewards. Then we are able to get a headway. So for me, I think we are already doing these things, whether it is formal or informal in terms of mentorship. But to be able to provide mentorship for those in school and even the early career stage, I think we have to work together. There should be synergy. We all have to come together because we are working towards the same goal. When you work in isolation, you're unable to achieve a lot. But you come together and you put your thoughts, your ideas together, and there's one platform that everybody plugs into, and we are able to get the returns that we want. I believe we can make a headway. For me, the word is collaboration and partnership. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, let's hand it over to Georgette. Do you think there are any structures that organizations should put in place to better empower mentorship with a mentor-mentee from an
Okay, I think Lovina has said a lot, and she did mention of collaboration, feedback, and then she's basically said a lot, which it's the same thing I would say. Collaboration is very important, like I said, for the university students. There's a collaboration between the units and even the departments in charge of career and counseling. So you get them coming in asking us about students to mentor them and all that. And aside them coming in to collaborate with the unit, there's also the feedback thing that they take from us, because the students don't just come for us to mentor them. They take feedback so that they will be able to know when to guide them. And since they are in school, some of them are likely to change jobs or change roles at any point in time. So based on the feedback, you'll be able to reassign the student to a different mentor based on the new career path or new dreams or aspirations the person wants to go. So that's what I would want to add.
Thank you so much. Just before you hand over the mic, maybe from your perspective, you've dealt with individuals. Do you think she spoke more on the organizational perspective? Now, assume the organization doesn't have that many people. Maybe there are a few individuals within the organization, but they're still looking to mentor. Is there any advice you could give them or any structures you think they can put in place? At least they're able to do it, whether they have the resources to or not.
Okay, so individually, I would say I have over 8 mentees. Out of the 8 mentees, I have only 1 from Ghana. I think I have 4 from Kenya, South Africa, and then Nigeria. Most of them are from Nigeria. So individually, you have to be intentional. You really have to be intentional, putting up structures to mentor them in terms of timing, communication. Talking about timing, you have to look for a time that will favor both the mentor and the mentee because of location. So timing is important. It's one thing you should put a structure to it so that you can meet them halfway. And also putting up resources. For resources, because most of my mentees may not be in the capacity to build themselves, what I do is if I have the chance to buy courses online, so I have an account for my mentees. So I do buy the online courses, and then whenever they are ready, I just share the username, the credentials with them, and then they go there to learn. But what I do from a security background, I make sure I change the password for each mentee who goes to the site to use it. So that's one thing I can also say, that personally you have to help them invest in themselves. You help them invest in themselves by guiding them and telling them what to do and then putting up structures. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Georgette. That's really beautiful. And I'd like to say thank you on their behalf. I think next we can go to Miss Mason.
Okay, so before I answer the question, Georgette, are you taking any more mentees? I have some courses I need to do. So on how mentorship can be done in organizations and personally. So from the mentorship that I have received, what I noticed about it is it works best if it's natural, if it's not forced, if you actually have a relationship with this person. It's granted most of our mentors will be in professional settings, but it has to go beyond that for it to work well. Because to be able to motivate me well enough, you need to understand who I am as a person, what things am I lacking, and how can I meet those needs. I also feel like organizations should invest more in staff retreats and should take appraisal processes very seriously. In certain places, appraisals are just done and files are just kept. But as employees are stating their needs and requirements, I think this should be picked up and not necessarily putting money to invest in what the employee wants to do, but understanding their pain points personally so that you can work with them to make sure that these pain points are addressed. For instance, if you have a new mother, for instance, in your team, how can you help her as an organization to balance her work and her new motherhood so that she can continue to grow? I think these are things that we need to ensure that our companies are doing, or at least are taking note of. I also think that as a mentee, you should be willing to change and adapt as you are getting new information. So you're not stuck in your ways. If you hear, like for instance, you know how we say that you can take a horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink? It's something that mentors as well would need to take to heart because I would say with regards to my personal education, for instance, Miss Nodumo was telling me, oh, you should go and do your master's. You should do your PhD. And I told her, oh, as a woman in tech, I don't think I need a master's. I have the skill. I can do certificates. I don't need a master's. But then 5 years down the line, here am I doing my master's, thinking about doing my PhD. It's the repeated information that kept coming that, hey, this would be good for you. This would be good for you. And it was never forced. It was just subtle. And she understood who I was as a person and how to push me. So that's why I say that mentorship should be personal. Because if you do not have that relationship with your mentee, it will just sound like you are ticking boxes to say, okay, I need to get this person to do this, to progress. I need this person to graduate. So that personal level must come in to ensure that the targets that you are looking forward to ticking are actually going to be met. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Nuggets everywhere. I think next we can go with Miss Nana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for talking about the fact that mentorship is personal, because I think that's always that balance that people need to strike between mentoring and coaching. They are completely different things. So mentoring is where that personal relationship needs to come in. And I just want to highlight just three key things from an HR and a recruiter perspective that coming into an organization, we assess several people. So earlier this year, I think it was last year, we advertised for internship and we had over 700 applications and we just needed just about 20 positions. And you go through the CVs and some of them were not CVs. I think they just put lists together. And that's where it starts from. That clarity. So the first C for me is is clarity. And I'll just go through 3 C's. The clarity to be able to communicate your journey, past, present, and future, is so important. Being able to document. So even if you have 1 year of experience, trust me, that 1 year can earn you a job. It is just how you tell your story. And unfortunately, you see a lot of young people and their CVs are nothing to write home about. Technology is everywhere. Even if you can't, just put your skills in ChatGPT and trust me, you would have a fit for purpose ATS ready CV. ATS is applicant tracking system, because a lot of the companies use AI supported, systems to be able to sort through the volume of applications that come in. So for me, it's clarity, being clear around what your journey is very important, and being able to articulate it, the value we spoke about earlier. The next C for me is curiosity. How curious are you with everything happening in the world? How curious are you to position yourself, learn new skills? Fortunately or unfortunately for all of you, technology is one of the fastest moving industries. It's just moving so fast. And so if you are stuck in your old skills, you've developed a particular set of skills, so you're very comfortable, the competition will pass you by. Because this particular session, there are other organizations having these similar sessions, empowering other young ladies. So what differentiates you from that other young lady who is also pursuing her career? The last C for me is the continuous learning. And for us in HR, when it comes to learning, we apply the 70-20-10 rule, where 70% of your learning happens on the job. So that's experiential learning. The 20% is exposure, the projects you work on, the people you interact with, the people you are talking to. And then the 10%, which is the minor bit, is the formal classroom learning. So your certifications, training, that's just the 10%. So you can see that majority of the learning happens when you are visible, happens when you raise your hand, opt for projects. When you are uncomfortable, I had this mentee who was thinking of doing a postgraduate program. And she said, no, I've been told, I should do an MBA. And I said, Bridget, an MBA will not help you. Not because an MBA is not good, but look at where the world is moving to. Currently, she's in Legon doing data science or data analytics, and she's struggling. She says, no, I'm uncomfortable. But I said, yes, it's through that uncomfortable feeling that you are learning. And she's getting better with each passing day. So what I would just say is clarity, curiosity, continuous learning. These are 3 key ingredients to really position you for the future.
Thank you so much. Before you hand over the mic, just you work within an organization. I don't know if your organization has like a structured way to how you do mentorship. Do you assign maybe one employee to new ones, etc.? Is there something, your organization is very big, by the way. Is there a structure that you have seen within your organization that you think will be really good that other organizations adopt, at least to ensure that you still are able to do the mentorship bit? Because it's not just about profit sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. So for my organization, our people make all the difference. And so definitely in terms of mentoring, like I mentioned earlier, we have structured mentoring programs. So we have it in 2 parts. So we have for young talent, so national service interns, when they come in, there's a structured program where they are paired based on their interests with other senior people within the organization, and then they go through the mentoring process. It's guided through some engagements, structured through timing, making sure that there are clear milestones that they are able to achieve during that engagement. The other bit is on the job mentoring for people who need to develop critical experience as part of their career development. So at the beginning of every year, each employee puts together their own development plan. And if it requires them to have some bit of mentoring, we are able to facilitate that as well. But I would say that a lot of it is dependent on the individual. The organization does its part, but a lot of the time the individual needs to be able to take their initiative and then sustain their mentoring relationship. The final thing I would say is that you don't have to be perfect to start a mentoring relationship. You could just be at a crossroads in your career or in your own journey and just find someone who has that capability to be able to support you in terms of what you need.
Thank you so much, Miss Nana. Clearly, we've gotten very beautiful messages. You've emphasized on the importance of initiative. Like, yes, the company may be willing to help, but it's still up to the individual to seek this help. I think we can go to our final question. If you could leave our audience with one essential insight in about a sentence or two about the power of mentorship for women in tech, whether you're a mentor, mentee, a future mentor, or a future mentee, what would it be? I think we can start with Mason. Miss Mason.
In a sentence or two? Okay. So I speak a lot, which I'm sure you know by now. So I make over, but in a sentence or two about mentorship that I would like to leave is that opportunities are very necessary because we learn by doing. And if you do not give your mentees opportunities to do things so they can actually see that they are getting things done and are capable of getting things done, they don't learn much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Miss Georgette?
So this will be for the mentees. It's for them to know that their mentors have shortfalls too. So it's okay if they are not getting all the right information now, or if it's okay if they are not getting there. They should just take their time, and in as much as they are looking up to their mentors, they should know that it's okay. It's okay to fail sometimes. You just have to put yourself together and then build yourself up again. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Luvina?
Okay, so my word is authenticity. And I think it was mentioned here. I believe in being yourself. So when it's a relationship, but you don't have to fake because it is because you want to become better. That is why you are building that kind of relationship and seeking that guidance. So for me, they have to be real. They have to be authentic. They have to be themselves. And then that is where you are able to show your vulnerabilities as a person for the higher person who is also mentoring you to see where they can come in and provide the guidance, the direction, the coaching, everything that you need. So for me, it's just being authentic, being yourself, being the real you, and then getting the feedback that you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, to Miss Nana.
All right, so I think I'll just emphasize what I've said already around clarity, curiosity, and continuous learning. For me, these are very important. And even as you continue on your journey, never burn bridges. You need people, and it's those people who will speak for you when you are not there.
Thank you so much. And that wraps up our session. I think I can give a closing remark. So, in honor of Miss Nodumo Dhlamini's legacy, the Queen herself, and her dedication to lifting up women in technology, let's commit to turning these insights into action in our own communities and careers. So thank you so much, ladies. It's been such a pleasure learning from all of you. I think I can hand over the mic back to the MC. Oh, there's gifts for everyone.
Okay. We have some appreciation from AfChix. So
Yeah, book clap for them. Let's clap for them as they've done such a great job today. Thank you, Miss Nana. Thank you. Clap for Miss Georgina once more before she leaves. Yes, let's clap for Miss Georgette just before she leaves. And finally, let's appreciate Miss Luvina. Thank you so much, ladies, for showing up. Okay.
Barbara, question time, or we should skip it? Question time, or we should skip it? All right. Thank you very much. You all will agree with me that it was really an insightful session. We are grateful to the panelists. I know you have questions, but we will reserve that for later. So now I'll invite Ms. Barbara to come and give us a short presentation.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me over the heavy, heavy rain. It's a good sign. We're getting blessings. All right. My name is Barbara Muthoka, and I'm the program manager at AfChix. And I'm here just to talk about our Women in Leadership program that we launched at the beginning of last quarter in June. I'm going to run through it. If you were at the AIS, this is a presentation you might already know because we have shared it many times, but I want to talk about it a bit more for those who have not attended AIS. And also, if we can increase the AC just so that it's not cold. I can see some people are freezing here. Right. We always get asked this question. Are these programs necessary? We always talk about women. We have women empowerment. Are more women programs really necessary? And we still think so. And we think it's still very necessary because of the work that we do and the people that we encounter all the time, that we're still not having enough women in tech, and we're still not having enough women to represent and make decisions on the table where it really matters. And so that is why, as AfChix, we've decided to come up with this program to enable women to be able to be upskilled and competent enough to sit at the table and make decisions for half of the population, so that then we're not left out as women. So AfChix, we have a mission to create an exemplary organization and network of African women in computing with a desire to inclusively provide opportunities, mentorship, capacity building, and inspire young generations through role modeling. And that is why we are having this whole summit today, is to talk about the value of mentorship and hearing from the quote unquote horse's mouths about why mentorship is important. So at AfChix, we have been able to come up with different programs and different activities. AfChix was formed in 2004. I don't know where Ivy was, because Ivy turned 24 yesterday and she's already working with us. So we started a long, long time ago, just talking to girls and different women in different activities, which have been seminars. We have had digital literacy activities and programs, technical workshops, online seminars, and just like we have done here this week, there were conference workshops and tutorials that we had encouraged women to join, and then having our side event today, but continuing to ensure that women get their voices heard and we have a space like this for us to be able to learn and grow. AfChix has so far since 2004 impacted over 17,000 girls and women through training, mentorship, and community events that we've done across the continent. We have also worked towards reducing the gender digital divide, where we have connected over 1,350 residents to the internet through our community network infrastructure. We have connected 13 rural schools, which is equivalent to about 5,800 students. And we have empowered another 1,250 women through digital literacy training. We have also been part of the AF Star organizations, where we see ourselves as acting as a thematic partner for these organizations. And just like Muthoni had earlier said, that we're looking to partner with as many organizations as possible to help either push the gender equality plan or bring these training and programs to their doorsteps and organizations, so that then the women that are coming in are also able to be upskilled and are competent to, go up that ladder. We did a survey last year and we asked our network, what is actually needed? What do you need AfChix to do? And as you can see here, 40% said mentorship. Another 30 said training and workshops. And seeing that, we decided that we would host and have a women in leadership program to cover that training and workshops part that would also play into the mentorship, whereby the women who get trained get to encounter women who are also in this room and get mentored and matched that way. So we are looking forward to seeing what our women in leadership program will come to. So as we talk about the work that we do at AfChix, we like to refer to this leaky pipeline. Every single individual on earth goes through school and then goes through all these aspects of their lives, where you go to primary, high school, secondary school, university, and then you get into the workforce. And we've realized that for women, we have leakages in different aspects of their stages in life. And our work at AfChix is to ensure that our programs are catering to these leakages and trying to stop the drops. And hopefully by the time our work is maybe done, 20 years from now, this pipe you see here at the end for senior leadership will be bigger. That we'll have more of you here at the leadership table making decisions that will impact our world. So our program, we do it through professional education, outreach, mentorship, and all these activities that we're talking about here. We want to ensure that whether we are encountering a girl in secondary school, she's able to see somebody who has gone ahead of her, either in university or even in the career, and able to see that she too can be that woman. So job shadowing opportunities where we can get them to come to your organization and see what is possible for them. If they don't see it, they can't dream it. And so we're trying to ensure that they actually see it and then they're able to dream it, because they can actually put their dream to seeing someone. For example, I could want to be like Maud because I have seen her and seen what she does. If I did see Maud, then I wouldn't want to, know what she's doing. So those are the activities that we are doing. I am running through this because we are a bit, this time is spent, but I hope you can get the drift. So who can join us? Universities, training providers, talent development, and industry players, funders, so that then we are able to make sure that this program goes far and wide. We want to build our network to have these, different groups which are birds of a feather groups, special interest groups, just like what we were asked in the question about people with disabilities, creating a safe space for women with that who have an interest in technology to feel safe, to get educated, and to increase their capacity in the different areas in technology that they want to. Having chapters in different countries. I'm hoping that after this, we can get a Ghana chapter starting. Nana, Georgina, I'm looking at you. And then also in your organizations, how can you start a Women in Tech affinity group where now you also have a safe space within your colleagues to share, grow, and learn at the same time? Next is we are also here to offer you a place to partner with us, whether you're from an organization, whether you're an individual, whether you want to mentor or be a mentee, there's a place for you with us. Whether you want us to come and advocate for you in your organization, we can do that. So wherever you want us to come in, we can, all as long as we are all working towards increasing the number of women in tech. Through this program, we are hoping that we can train 500 women and increase their capacity and technical competence and proficiency levels. We want that by the end of this program, by the end of you guys going through our courses, you are able to come and tell us, before I started, I could not advocate for myself in the boardroom. After, I am now able to represent my needs and wants to my supervisor, to the directors, and also maybe having started an affinity group for myself in the organization. Currently, these are the training opportunities we have. We have partnered with training partners, ISOC, NSRC, AFNOG, and Diplo. These are the courses in our catalog. We are continually seeing how we can increase them. So if you are a training partner and are interested to onboard your training with us, please see me after this. So I want to end it here. If you are a partner, if you want to do a course, please scan the code and you'll be directed to a place to register, and we'll definitely reach out to you and cater to what it is that you select on the form. Thank you so much for listening to me, and we'll be here even after just to hear if you have any questions for us. But please feel free to scan and send this to as many women as possible. We just want to be able to be represented more because we are not enough yet. Thank you so much and have a lovely rest of the summit.
Thank you very much, Barbara. I wanted you to. Yes, so please let's ensure that we scan the code. So let's just give ourselves like 5 seconds to a minute. Scan the code. Okay. Yes. Are we done scanning? Okay, so I believe we are done scanning. So next on our agenda, we'll be going to have some lightning talks. So we'll first start with online safety and trust, which will be given by Georgette Kissi, who is the acting head of IT security and planning at the University of Ghana. So please let's give her a round of applause as she comes. Please, we can do better.
Okay. Good afternoon once again. Because of time, I'm just going to rush through this, and I do not need to introduce myself because I've already done that, okay? So basically how we have to be careful when we are using our internet, and then to be careful when we are doing anything on the internet. I actually have a video I would want to play, then I can, yeah. So please let's pay attention to the video. I don't know if we can actually hear what's happening, but then I'll play the video and then we start from there. So I'll repeat the video when it's done. So please let's pay attention to the video. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the video once again, but basically it was about a lady who was just posting anything on social media. She was going for graduation, she just posted, she was going to buy a shoe, and while she was posting, she didn't even look at her environment. In one of the videos, you could see that she posted something with her address behind. She didn't even look at it. And then her date of birth, her graduation date, and all that. She was just posting, having fun. And at the end of the day, what happened? The bad guy got, so this is it. She just started. She went to buy shoes for her graduation. She just posted. And you can see that's her name on social media. Posting pictures, her graduation dates, her name is there, and all that. That's her date of birth, her birthday. So she's just posting. And that's the video with her address. So when the bad guy got access to it, and she posted a picture without knowing her card is there, right? ATM card, and that's it. By the time she realized her account was empty. So in short, we should be careful what we post out there. Okay, it's serious. I would have actually done a simulation too. When a link is sent to you, just by clicking on the link without even inputting any credentials, they can get access to your location and even the kind of phone you are using. That's why sometimes, or most of the time, it's been said that when you receive such links, please don't click on it. Don't even try it. Don't. And it's the same with QR codes. When we see the QR codes, we should be very, very careful when we want to scan. Okay, so that's one thing I would also want to share. Be careful what you post out there. Be careful when you see phishing links. Sometimes they will just call you and then they would ask for demands. Be careful. If you don't know the person, please just ignore. Okay, and I'm also going to talk about passwords. Please, if you want to use our passwords, we've heard of this several times. We shouldn't use one password for all our accounts. No. One thing I always advise is you should get a catchy phrase or something that you can relate with. Okay, sometimes we say the passwords are too many. If you're not going to use a password manager as technical people, you should know how to come up with a password. So if you're doing Instagram and let's say Facebook, have a catchy word. So when I go to Facebook, I know there's a face in my password. Please, I'm not saying create your passwords like that, please. Please, I'm not saying that. Just so you don't forget. And that will make you to change your passwords. Okay. And talking about social media accounts too, please, we should take the time and go to the privacy settings. We should take the time, go to the privacy settings, and then look at what we have there. In as much as we can, we should disable some of the things there. So that's one thing I'm also going to say. Now there's a new block in town, AI. AI is doing the most when it comes to security. AI is doing the most. You can just post a picture. Someone will just take your picture and the person can put a nice voice and then a video around it. And you can't even defend yourself. That's how serious it is. We can't stop AI. We can't stop the security that comes with it. Okay, but we just have to be careful with what we post out there. And another thing is, another thing I would want to address when it comes to being digital safe is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is one thing I'm very keen on. And cyberbullying may not just be you not participating indirectly. Okay, you may think you are not a victim to cyberbullying, but you may help someone who may not even be able to speak up. So we should be careful. Whilst we are being careful of what we post out there, we will be able to educate someone and even advise a person, because some people may not even know that they are being cyberbullied. So we can also help to stay safe out there by educating others. So because of time, I just want to end here. When you see something that is not right, please speak up. The internet is supposed to be a very nice place, but it can be a very, very, very dangerous place, okay? And the last thing will be on our media. Please, when we are traveling and then we see the free Wi-Fi, I believe we are all technical people, so well, we may not want to, but sometimes you are just in need of internet. So let me just do it and then fast. Please, let's be careful, okay? And that's all I would want to say. Thank you so much for having me. Please.
Thank you very much, Georgette. So the next lightning talk will be by Millicent Adjei, who is a okay. So now there's just a slight change in the agenda. So we'll move to the fireside chat now. I would give the mic to Dr. Dorcas to introduce the feature person, and then we'll have the fireside chat on career navigation for a woman in tech.
Let me set up just our session on the first side. I apologize that we have two people who have they're time pressed, and we just want to negotiate to see how to navigate it. But we have very, very powerful sessions. We apologize we started late. That's why we have allowed it to go with the flow, but we don't want to lose anyone. So give us a chance, just 1 minute to see the best arrangement. So we're going to take the presentation by Millicent on positioning yourself for career advancement through visibility. Let me give it back to... Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Millicent Adjei, and I work with the Association of African Universities as a communication specialist. So just like Georgette, I would also quickly run through this presentation. I'm glad to be here for us to explore how we can position ourselves for career advancement, particularly through visibility. I would have loved to start with a quick exercise for us to see or know what the internet says about us, if it's a true reflection of what we want people to know about us or how we want people to remember us. But we will just dive straight to what career visibility is, which means professional work skills and contributions are noticed, acknowledged, and valued by others, leading to greater recognition, opportunities for advancement, and a stronger sense of belonging, and also motivation. So as career people, being visible goes beyond being seen. It's having your value, your expertise, and your skills being recognized and acknowledged accordingly. Being recognized accordingly. And why is visibility very critical? There is a gap, particularly in fields like tech, where we have male domination. There is a wide gap for how female are underrepresented. Although women are breaking barriers in tech, yet challenges remain that women are highly underrepresented, and we have statistics to actually back that. These statistics, I have the source there, are from last year, 2024. We have 28% of the global tech industry workforce that are women, meaning out of every 100 global tech people, only 28 of them are women. And that 29 of the tech leadership roles are women. So you go to the leadership positions and we have only 29% of women there, out of which only 18% are the executive role. And also 48% of women report feeling excluded because they are not included and are not privy to opportunities, leaving 56% of such women leaving the tech industry in mid-career. And this attrition is also causing that we are losing talent, women that are going to be mentors, women that are going to help bridge the gap are leaving mid-career because they don't see opportunities and then they are lacking growth as well. And it's even worse in Africa. The good thing is we have 47% of STEM graduates who are women. But then when we go to the tech roles, we have only 23 to 30% of them transitioning into the roles out of the 47 who are the STEM graduates. And then we come down to the leadership position and we have only 12% here in Africa. And for startups, female-led startup only accounts for 1% of Africa's total tech funding, which is very, very poor. So this begs the very important relevance of why visibility is important, particularly for women in tech, that the gap is so wide that we need to be very visible to be able to bridge this gap. And some of the key barriers that are responsible or that influences this underrepresentation includes the imposter syndrome, where there's usually self-doubt that many women in tech, they feel because it's a male area or is the male-dominated area, when we are able to achieve and are successful, we begin to doubt ourselves, we begin to doubt our capabilities, that no, this may not be us, and makes us very, shy, reserved, call into our shells, which is not supposed to be. And then also there is under recognition, where women's contributions are often overlooked, minimized, or even credited to male colleagues due to unconscious bias, of course. And sometimes achievements may not get the deserved spotlight. Sometimes you see that women rise through the ranks and are able to be successful and achieve so much, yet they are not duly recognized, particularly in the tech industry, where I think we all find ourselves, is that we feel we are trying to encourage women in tech. So when women are able to rise through the ranks, they are able to take up leadership roles. We feel that it's because we are encouraging more women in tech. That's how come they were given that opportunity, which is usually untrue, because some of these women have actually earned it and have merited to be there. And even sometimes we know that women make very good leaders. I'm sure most people will contest, especially the men, and even some of us women will contest that women make very good leaders. But the truth is, as very good team leaders, when our teams are successful, we like to attribute the success to the team instead of honing our achievements. We like to be in the background and then just give the glory to the team instead of advocating for ourselves and say, oh yes, I led this team and we're able to do this, do that under my guidance and under my supervision. We just said, oh, the team did this, the team that did that, and then we hide under the shadows, which is also not very good for us, for our visibility and our professional growth. And then also limited networks. I think we've spoke extensively on networks. So I'll just rush through that. Networks are very important, like we have initially highlighted. And then also family work balance, family obligations, and then perceptions that women are less committed. When I was here, I was just checking the time a while ago because I need to go and pick up my kids. I kept checking the time, still trying to find that career balance. People usually say that there's nothing like family career balance. One always suffers at a point. Family will suffer at a point, career will suffer at a point. But then as women, we always try to balance the equation, make sure none is suffering, both are kept afloat. But then that is usually used against us. I know some people in certain organizations where when there are some opportunities, particularly travel opportunities, they are sidelined because they are family women, because maybe an opportunity came once and they said, oh, my child is too young, I cannot travel. And since then, they haven't had any opportunity to travel again because at the back of their superiors' minds, they would always come up with the excuse of having to take care of their children, and they lose out on very important opportunities affecting their career growth. So most importantly, visibility matters for career advancement because it gives you the recognition. It increases your chances for promotions. It increases your chances for leadership roles. It helps you to be more effective. It helps you to be more effective, valued, and acknowledged as well. And then also opportunities. When you are visible, you are able to attract mentors, you are able to attract sponsors and collaborators. And being visible ensures that people think of you when opportunity arises. And without visibility, excellent contributions go unnoticed. Nobody would know what you are doing. And when opportunities come, you won't be the one they would think of, even no matter how competent and how good you are, because you haven't made yourself visible. People don't know what you are doing. They don't know how good you are. Opportunities usually would pass you by. And then also being visible gives you influence. It builds your credibility. You are able to gain trust. You're able to garner some sort of authority such that people trust your reputation. People are able to trust you in terms of decision making because they know that you have the expertise, and then you have also been able to build that reputation. You have been able to build your skills in that area, that you are very influential. So they lean on you for decisions. They lean on you for guidance in your area of expertise. And we would dive into strategies for building your visibility, strategies for building your recognition and being valuable to your organization, being valuable to other people within the industry. And first is personal branding. And for personal branding, it means what makes you unique, what sets you apart from other people in relation to your skills, in relation to your expertise, in relation to your value. You have to build a brand. You have to be known for something. Building a brand is being intentional about what you want people to remember you for. So you would have to create a niche for yourself. You do a self-introspection and see what you are good at, see where your strengths are, and be able to build upon it, create a niche for yourself. And whilst you are creating a niche for yourself, you can't be visible when you are not good at something. You have to be associated with something. You have to be associated with a skill. And that means investing in self-advancement in terms of qualification, in terms of skills, joining meetings such as this, and also advancing in terms of your qualification, and then acquiring soft skills. Soft skills are very important because it is proven that soft skills increase success rates by up to 40%. Soft skills such as communication, negotiation, time management, they are all very essential to building your personal brand. And then also you starting small. Speak up in meetings. You don't always have to call yourself, show yourself up. No, you have to speak up, start small in your organizations, in your institutions. Whenever, make a conscious effort. Whenever you join a meeting, don't leave the meeting without your voice being heard. You have to speak. No matter how little the contribution is, you have to make it. Ask thoughtful questions, contribute meaningfully, and then volunteer as well. If it's not taken, like she had indicated, you volunteer, and then you strengthen your network. I wouldn't want to dive too much into network strengthening, like I said earlier, because we have spoken extensively on that. And then also show your skills. Don't be shy to show your skills. Don't be shy to show how good you are. If it's blog writing, if it's article, whatever area of strength that where you find yourself, make sure you shine there, whichever way that you would be able to do so. And then one of the most important ways of building visibility is honing your online presence. You growing your online presence. Initially, like I said, I wanted us to look ourselves up and see if we are even present at all and what information we have there. But then growing your digital presence starts with being visible online, and you can always leverage on social media like most people are doing. Social media is free. You don't need to invest so much money, except that you may need to invest some time, make conscious effort, and be consistent. But then you can start with the LinkedIn, you can start with Facebook, X. I'm sure we are all of us here on social media. And then it's not just about being on social media, it's how you brand yourself, how you market yourself on social media. Like having your profile, you visit certain profiles, and this is a LinkedIn profile of Ethel Kofi. Before I didn't want to share that, but then before I completed my presentation, I visited some other profiles, and I realized that these are people I know, and I know that they are doing so much. But then I visit their profile, and then I just see, let's say, a tech consultant. But these people are doing so much that they could have highlighted everything they're doing, but then you just see a tech consultant. So this is a very good example of how your profile should look like. Make sure you mention every little detail, every little thing that you do should be represented on your profile, because your profile is your personal brand. You make sure you share your work, you share insights, your initiatives. When you join events, you make sure you share them as you are here. You are networking, you take photos, you write very detailed, very insightful things you put on your social media platforms. You let people see what you are doing, the people you are networking and engaging with. And then also you engage actively, you comment on people's posts, you join on discussions in your area of expertise. And then, yes, this is also another example of a very good way of engaging, particularly on our LinkedIn. And then 6 is to seek mentors and sponsors. I think mentorship has been heavily emphasized in this summit, and I'm sure we are all products of mentorship. Myself as well, also a product of Madame Nodumo's mentorship. I remember when I joined the Association of African Universities about close to a decade ago, and I was a very reserved lady, a woman of very few words, she used to say. And one day she said to me, I was employed to work on the World Bank's largest project for higher education in Africa. And then she said to me, Millicent, you have to make yourself visible. And I was wondering, as tall as I am, how am I not visible? But yes, that was just by the way. How am I not visible? But then she meant more than that. And she guided me, gave me some steps on how to make myself visible, how to make my work visible. She said, you are doing so much, but then it's not being accounted for in your presentations. I could summarize my whole month work, which is a lot, in just one sentence. And she would come back and say, no, you have to let people see what you are doing. You have to say, give details. And it was a turning point for me, particularly as part of the team. So mentorship, like I said, is very, very important. So this is what I would want to leave us with. So as we want to hone our visibility, it is important that we set goals and then we set targets for ourselves. That setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. So we can start with a visibility action plan. We have our career goals. This is just a template, but you may want to tweak it to how best it would suit you. But then you may want to indicate your career goals, where you want visibility to take you in long or short term. You could give yourself a quarter, 6 months, or even up to a year. And then also you look at what you are doing well, which areas you would have to enhance because you are already shining there. And then you assess your weakness to see where you are having challenges and how you feel unseen. And then which of the strategies that you would want to start with. Is it by speaking up in meetings? Is it by networking? I suggest networking. We start here right after this event. We talk to someone, get to know what someone is doing, also share what you are doing. And then other ways, your social media, when you get back home, you can take your phone and then go through your profile and see if it's a true reflection of what you do. And then give yourself some time and assess yourself and see how good it has helped you or it is helping you. If 1 or 2 strategies are not enough, after a quarter, after 6 months, you can add on, you can diversify, and then you see how it would help your professional growth. Thank you so much. I would like to end here. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Millicent, for showing us how to be visible. Thank you very much. Okay, quick picture. Thank you very much, Millicent, once again. So we're moving on to the last lightning talk, which is on the topic self-care for the woman in tech. This will be done by Maud Ashong Elliot, who is the president of ISOC Ghana chapter. Please let's give her a round of applause as she comes. We can do better.
Okay, so whilst she's working on my slides, normally, we know that this is a tech sitting in a way. We all have some connection with the tech environment. But most of the time at events like this, I don't talk about tech in general. Most of what we do is talk about the technology, but I want to talk about how we should take care of ourselves. Okay? Every day we are behind the computer. I'm sure every one of us daily. Who here doesn't do that? And you know that is giving us some form of disease. We are having backaches. We are wearing glasses. Okay, so that's why I'm here. So whilst we are making sure that we are mentoring people, leading them, because I always talk about, always hold somebody's hand. That is how growth happens. You don't need to mentor 100 of women or gentlemen, but one person at a time. Okay. I did this topic in 2019 in Entebbe, Uganda. And then this topic has brought me here because Dorcas remembered that I did this. Everybody said, oh, we are in Ghana. Oh, you're also there. Mercy. Mercy. This is what listen, when you are given an opportunity, I'm happy the ladies are recommended to come. When you are given an opportunity, you just do your best because you don't know where that will take you. Don't take any opportunity lightly, especially when it has to deal with speaking engagements like this, because you do not know who is in the room. And most of the time, after each speaking engagement, the following week, I have another invitation. Then the following month, another invitation. So that means that I need to do my best. It's 2019, I was surprised. I said, please, can you do the same topic? I said, okay. How? Okay. Stress, burnout. Everybody understands or feels stress differently, isn't it? When I'm stressed, all I want to do is sleep. Others would want to eat. Others would want to stay behind their phones. So everybody explains or experiences stress differently. So when we are talking about stress, we cannot, let's say, define it as just this is what it is. But it's a personal thing. And we know that it is increasing daily in our lives, work, personal lives, everywhere we are stressed. And we can talk about that we can name a lot of examples. Our daily life schedules, especially if it's routine, like you have to wake up at 4 a.m., that also increases our stress. Okay. Now in our world of technology, I finished KNUST in 2005. So that's 20 years. Okay. 20 years of sitting behind computers daily, 20 years of programming, then moving on to create other niche. You see, I'm creating a profile so that you get to know it's fine, it's programming. And then you get to the point where now we are doing governance, we are doing policy. There should be growth. And anything that has to do with a woman in technology, people assign you to it. It means that you have created a niche. I think now I need to create a business because when people need very good programmers in the tech space, do you know the companies contact me? Newmont will call. Maud, can you get us 4 young ladies since you are preaching that the women are also doing well in the space? I say, I'll get you. Then companies. So especially when it gets to national service period, calls from all over. I think I should open a company and do this. Because they believe that the people I'll recommend definitely will be good. And I do that throughout all the universities, not just UPSA, University of Ghana, KNUST, and especially the technical universities. I think I'm liking what they are churning out. So our world of work is all mainly a problem-solving world, isn't it? Have we solved our own that now we are solving others? What do? We just want to make sure whatever activities that these businesses do, they are done efficiently by developing softwares for them. Also, we must also make sure that the codes that we are, our codes must run. If you are programmers, your codes must run. You know how it feels like. I mean, those of you who did computer science, If it's not working, can you sleep? You can't. But all I'm saying is that in all that, you must still take care of yourself. Okay, so we'll get to know. What else do? We also make sure the security of the systems that we use are what? Are of utmost priority to us. And then devices online must be active and running. So you see that everything about us is fast. Do you see that? I'm talking about our world of work. It's a very fast world. Apart from the academics that we do, it's moving so fast. If you decide that we are not going to learn, you'll be left behind. It's not like the other fields. So every time we must be engaged. This year, maybe you are doing Python. In the next 2 years, there's another programming language that has come up. Now it's AI. Now we are coding bots. As for me, one teaching method I'm using now is gamification. Because I've seen that the young men and women would love to play games. Okay. So I turn the lessons into games. And then we play it. And interestingly, they get to understand it. The tough concepts, they understand it through the games. So what you do is that you need to be innovative. And how can you be innovative? You must also learn and get to understand how they do it. And then use the methods that they love and use that as a platform to teach, to share knowledge. It's difficult. Maybe because I see knowledge sharing and acquisition as a passion. Because I can't sleep if I teach a concept and my students do not understand. Why don't you understand? So everybody is not like me, but that is me. So note that. So that's our world. It's a very fast world. Okay, let me talk about my life. Let me summarize it. My work, I teach. In fact, let me give myself the opportunity to talk about myself. I think that's what we have been doing today. And we are saying Ghanaians, we don't do that. Okay, let me try. My name is Maud Ashong Elliot. I'm a woman in technology. First degree, okay, I went to Wesley Girls High School, went to KNUST to offer computer science, did an MBA for me to understand the business settings, did an MPhil in information system, PhD, information system, almost done. What else? That's academics. A lot of short courses, a lot. One philosophy. Every year, I must have 2 certifications. Every year. So January, you realize that January, everybody, so I try to do that in January. And then in July, when it's the long vacation, I take another course every year. So that's why I'll keep myself abreast with the times. So that's about education. I lecture. That is, I won't say it's lifetime, but I'm passionate about it. I mentor intentionally. So every vacation, I pull one student. You are going to be with me. You follow me everywhere. I will impart into you, both spiritually and physically, everything, intentionally. So that at the end of the day, you can see a change in that person, intentionally. What else do I do? A lot of things. I do a lot of church stuff. In church, woman leader. I'm leader everywhere. So that's I've accepted it that I'm a leader. So that is it. Schooling, I've talked about that. I'm still schooling all the time. Marriage, I'm married with biological 3 and adopted 3, so 6 children. There are some in tertiary, senior high, and the last in JHS 3. Progression at work, it's ongoing. Trying to apply for senior lectureship. Just waiting for something to put in the bit. And then, what else? Childbirth. the time I did this presentation, I had gone out of, that was 2019. I had been sick for 3 years. 3 years. And even was in Kolebu, that's our national teaching hospital, for 6 months. When I got out of that dilemma and the opportunity to live again, I told myself, I'll take care of myself. I will take care of myself and I'll preach it. You see, all the time, what we do is, oh, I must get to this position. If you are sick, how do you get there? You have to get there, but you must take care of yourself. You must take care of yourself. That is it. So at the end of the day, the society will be expecting that you should get to this point. Society is expecting that you should take care of your children. Society is very powerful. No, on a more serious note, but you should know you yourself, you as a human being, you are just one. If you are not able to take care of you, how do you take care of others? They'll say learning outcomes. My objective for this presentation is that after this, you go back, you sit down, and then you mention your name, and then say, what do I want? Where do I want to get to? How long do I want to live? You know, sit and then now analyze your whole being. Physically, spiritually, how you deal with your daily activities. Life is happening. But note that you are critical in that equation. You are critical. Without you, nothing will work. So that's you. Are you taking care of it? So I had 3 children in 4 years. I had to make sure I had to school. I think I was doing my MBA, pregnancy, and MPhil, pregnancy. You get it? You are schooling, you are having the children, because everybody knows that me, I like school. So I remember my family, it wasn't even my mom, family, extended family, coming to me. We know the way you like schooling and the way we see you, you want a particular career path, but you remember you are a female, you have a biological clock, you must get married, you must have children. You see society giving you a lot of pressure. And with all this, nobody helps you. I had postpartum depression. No one was there. No one. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. So when we are growing, you realize that if you do not know who you are, no one will do it for you. So how do we start? I want you to first know your body. But this is just definition of self-care. What is it? A practice of taking actions to preserve or improve your own health, well-being, and happiness, especially during times of stress. We've said that stress is there, it's inevitable. But the difference between you and I is how we handle stress. Okay. And it's very important for you to do that, to take care of yourself. There are different types of self-care, depending on how you would want it done, because over time you would know that, when I'm tired, when I'm stressed, even when I take a 5-minute nap, I'm fine. If I take in a lot of water, I'm okay. If I lie down for even 10 minutes, I'm all right. So note that. But there are different types of self-care. Social, safety and security, relational, physical, emotional. You realize that emotional is there. But we need to practice it. There are a lot of things we can do in practicing self-care. A lot. You need to exercise. You need to have a hobby. You won't believe it. One thing I do that makes me relax is to speak to plants. I know it sounds weird. Yes. But I plant. I have flowers. I have vegetables. I have trees. I walk it. So my color is green. You walk through plants. You speak. It's life for me. You should identify that thing. Everybody has. Sometimes you might not have taken time to realize what is it. Find it. Another thing, you need to cultivate optimism. Optimism. Push yourself. Encourage yourself. Even if it's going, in the negative way, tell yourself it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. Tomorrow is another day. This code must work, And then another thing that helps me is to help others. You realize that when you put smiles on other people's faces, it gives you that vibe back. Hold other people's hands. Every time for me, I pray that the Lord will give me power, will give me positions. Why? So I can hold others, so that I could pull others also up. That is very important. So there are a lot of things. Sleep. When I say sleep, please. But in all this, you should know your body calendar. I am awake at night. They say I'm awake, it's fine. I'm awake at night. I'm telling you, mentally awake. I'm awake. I could sit steady throughout the night. Yes, maybe because of daytime, you have children running around. At the end of the day, you should have a me time. So my children know when I'm sitting, they knock. I say, please, it's me time. I say, okay. So note that. So do that and let the people around you also know the time that is for you, because you deserve to have that me time. So there are a lot of things. Have mental breaks as much as you can. And please say no when you cannot do an activity. Say no. Don't overwhelm yourself. When you die right now, you'll be replaced. Okay. So a lot of things can work for us, depending on what you want to do. So we have personal self-care and professional self-care. So take note. Connect with nature. Connect with nature. I'm telling you that it heals. It heals. Do that, and your professional ones too. Don't sit behind the computer all day. Now we have a lot of apps to remind you to get up to drink water, get up to stretch. The different type of stretch that you need to have is important. Do all these for your own mental being. How to blink your eyes and all that. Get up, stretch, take a walk. Whilst walking, smile. So that people will also see you and smile. Oh, you need to practice these things. And we learn them, okay? And then do your best. In conclusion, life is about balance. If you oversleep, you will lose a lot of things. If you don't sleep, you fall sick. You get it? So it's about balance. Your food, especially. You should know your system. You should know which food is good for you, what is not good for you, and respect this body. If it doesn't like alcohol, don't force it. You don't do things that will destroy it. Your body, your mind, your spirit must have a balance. A healthy mind in a healthy body. And note that life is about balance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maud. Please let's give her another round of applause. Picture time. Okay, thank you. So I'll call Dr. Dorcas again here to lead us in the fireside chat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. We've run very late, and we are so privileged to have Thelma still be present with us. She was really tight with time, but I know that she's really one of our top African women in technology, and she's also running a very big initiative across Africa around the future of smart Africa, in terms of how will we have a digital Africa in the future. And there are so many aspects. So we are privileged to have her. So Thelma, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for your kindness, your patience. I know you had a very busy schedule. And just let's have this little chat, because I think you walked the full journey of the pipeline. Barbara? So let me also use this opportunity, as Barbara is screening something here, to just let you know more about Thelma. Am I saying it right? In Kenya, I have a lot of influence by my accent, so I will once in a while, add my modifications. So I'm going to introduce her, but this is a very, very, very short introduction. And she's from Ghana. How many people know Thelma? Show your hands up. Yes, she's one of our amazing African women in technology. So I just want to let me read. I want to pull it out. Just 1 minute. Yes. So Thelma Quaye, is the Director of Digital Infrastructure, Skills, and Empowerment at Smart Africa, which is a very big intergovernment, inter-country, multi-stakeholder initiative to drive the African economies. And she has over 2 decades of experience across telecoms, ICT, banking, and has spearheaded very many transformative initiatives, including the Smart Africa Digital Academy, which won the global world, why we call it WISIS, Champion Award, and the African Network of Cybersecurity Authorities, and several other Pan-African digital strategies. She's recognized here in Ghana and actually across the Africa as Ghana's top women in technology, because she's also been part of many boards, board membership, board leadership, and also serves also in the World Economic Forum, Global Council, Future Council on Cybersecurity, and is passionate about mentoring and next generation female leaders. And I know this is one of the things in the portfolio also within the Smart Africa. So we are privileged to have her. And what we want to do is, if you look at what is on screen, and I know it's a bit hard for you to see, so we've talked about the AfChix Women in Leadership program is supposed to really increase what's going into that glass. And she's one of our drops that has already fallen in that water. And that means that she's walked a very long journey along the way. And in this forum, what we want to do is to just chat a bit about what are some of the decision points that she found herself with across the journey, and what kind of support did she get. We just want it to be very natural, just share, because everybody is like walking this journey. Look, the young ones, others have walked it, others are trying to get across this, so that we talk about navigation of this career to the next level. So let me begin with some of the decisions you took right at the age of 11. Math, science. There was somebody who asked earlier that, what do we do at that stage? Do you remember how you navigated your decisions around that age? And do you remember any passions, anything that you can tell us that you believe has helped you get to where you are today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Where do I start? So growing up, I was naturally very curious. So that's where I would start. I would fidget with everything I lay my hands on. I would ask a lot of questions, which got on people's nerves. And I think I still do ask questions, which gets on my team's nerves, but that's the only way I know how to. There were several decision points. I mean, okay, good. I'm sitting in Ghana because I was going to say I come from Ghana. We have a culture here where once you are bright, they would encourage you to do science. So it wasn't like there was any scientific basis for me to do science. It was just that, oh, you do well in school, you are curious, so the natural thing is science. Now, that wasn't even the most difficult decision. When I had to go to the university, I had to make a decision on what to do. I had no clue what to do. I had no idea. There was no career development courses. There was no mentors. I didn't know what was mentors. This was in the 1990s. And
if I may ask, do you remember at this time when you mean that you were encouraged, did anybody ever speak to you about, take sciences, take maths, you are good at it? Do you remember where that influence may have sounded from? Maybe teachers, parents, anyone?
So it was more my teachers. However, even the school that I was choosing, they were a bit skeptical that, hey, so I grew up in Takrades in the west part of Ghana. And I remember my head teacher telling me that, nobody from this school has ever gone to a Cape Coast school. So don't choose any Cape Coast school, which the Cape Coast schools are supposed to be the best schools in Ghana. And so just choose, Tadisco. And I had already asked around and I really wanted to go to Wesley Girls. Is there anybody from Wesley Girls here? I'm glad nobody is here. I really wanted to go to Wesley Girls. And then when I came home, my mom was like, okay, Wesley Girls may be too high. So you take Holy Child. And it's not like Holy Child, well, I went to Holy Child. I eventually went to Holy Child. And going to Holy Child, I don't think Holy Child is any lesser than Wesley Girls. But they were scared that I would lose out if I'd aimed too high. And so I should aim lower a bit so I can achieve my target. So, well, the rest is history. I'm a very proud Hobson. And nobody can convince me that Holy Child or Wesley Girls is better than Holy Child. So, yeah, I did that. Now, when it was time to go to the university, and over there, I did both biology and math. It was during that time, we didn't have the luxury of choosing, so we needed to do everything. Now, when I was going to the university, this is where it started.
And I was taught here in Ghana, people are going to the university at 16 years.
Yes. So I was, I think, about 17 when I was going to the university. And my dad told me that, you are a woman, you will grow, I wanted to do mechanical engineering. And I was told, you are a woman, you grow, you marry, you get pregnant. Why don't you do pharmacy? Because if you do pharmacy, you can open a drugstore, and even if you are pregnant, you can be selling your medicine. This is what he said. So, and then I had asked around, and people had discouraged me on mechanical engineering, that it was too manual. And so I said, okay, what's the next? So I went back to school, even though I had left Holy Child, to ask my teachers. And they told me I never knew until then, that there was civil engineering, there's electrical engineering, there's mechanical. And based on, because the teachers knew me, we think you can do either civil or electrical. So my decision point was, okay, all my friends are doing civil and I don't want to be like them. So I'll do electrical. this is just how I made a decision. Just okay, so I'll do electrical. Then I went back home. This was Cape Coast. So I went back home to Takrady, and my dad was like, "Hey, are there any fancies here?" Okay. My dad was like, "Hey, Interco school now call for full polar. Hey, like to wait. So you're going to school just to climb poles, because I said I wanted to do electrical." And I told him no. What I was told was that they're electronics, so I can do electronics. He was not happy with me choosing electrical engineering. His was, okay, I know you're bright, but do pharmacy so that you can have your store, your shop, and sit. And that wasn't my ambition. Who says I wanted to sell? Yeah, so those were some of the decision points. And I think
that's a very interesting thing. I want to hear how you navigated. Did you just proceed with your choice, or what did you?
I did proceed with my choice. The thing with my parents is that they would advise, but they will not force you. And my mom was really an encourager. My mom told me that I could achieve whatever I wanted to be. So for me, in all this, my mom was more of the pillar, because she let me know that, this is what you want to do, you can do it. And so I did it. And for me, because of the doubt that my dad had, it was my ambition never to fail, So I wasn't going to fail. So I finished with the second class upper. Actually, I had first class throughout, and then the last semester I dropped. But yeah, so that's how I ended up with electrical. Now, even doing
before, I'm just thinking about your teachers, that the ones that you went back to, so that that when you learned about over and above mechanical engineering, there was civil, there was electronic engineering, and there was more. And now you went back and said, okay, there's beyond this mechanical engineering, which you fear will be too manual. And I have opted in for the one that looks very the one that takes me to electronics, which really is something that I like. I'm trying to think about the influence of the educators, and how they help students either by affirming or by discouraging, because there are also people who say that the teacher said, I am not good at math, so I couldn't pursue that. So do you, in the top of your mind, remember the teacher who actually was very influential, that educator?
Oh yes, I'm still in touch with him, Mr. Day. Actually, in 2023, when my year group went back to school, I gave him a special gift, because I felt like he was part of, he was very instrumental, and he's still there. And for me, it was also a confidence that I didn't have. I took a lot of things for granted, that I could understand a lot of concepts in class for easily. I took for granted, but they saw and said, no, due to this and this and this, we think either civil or electrical, which was very powerful. If it was just me, I would have gone to mechanical, and I don't know where I would be by now. So the influence of teachers is very, very powerful. Whether they tell you cannot or they tell you can, has an impact.
And in terms of when you eventually chose to take on electronic engineering, and you were very determined that either way I will not fail, because you knew there was a different opinion perhaps at home from your dad, and you had already made a decision, and you knew the journey, which really shows that you are very aware of yourself and your capabilities and your vision and whatever else that you felt about life. Do you remember how your dad navigated that? Was it by just letting you be, or did you ever have this conversation again ever?
No, we did, but it was a silent conversation. That thing that, okay, I will be here. Sort of. But then when the grades kept coming in, the first and we had the, what do you call it, CWA, I think. Yeah, it's called cumulated weighted average. So we had it every semester, and when he kept seeing it, he got convinced, and at the end it became a joke. So it wasn't any hard feeling for him. It was more of trying to protect me. So one of his worries was, will I even get married? don't get into too much hard things that you will not get married. You will not,
It was
find a
social
partner.
protection.
Yeah. So, so for him, that was one of his worries. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm emphasizing there because when we look at the pipeline, we are seeing a very strong condensation of this pipeline from the navigation of from high school to college. And when we lose those numbers, it means we'll have less and less in the end. And so the reason I asked that question is because I have observed over time that most females who today took on technical courses, most of them were very strong. I also had a similar case where my father came to convince me to go into pharmacy, and I felt, no, I'm very poor with biological things. I fear hospitals. I fear everything about that environment. And I said, you know what? Since I'm going to take this course, I'm ready to work for it. I suggest you let me make the decision. And you see, again, the fact that your father was accommodative, I think really did help. The fact that you knew that once you make your choice, he won't come back and insist or give a threat, because we've had cases where some ladies were told that if you don't take the program that I'm recommending, then I won't pay the school fees. We've had these kind of cases. So I think we are looking here at, even if at the point he was of a different opinion in terms of a course, the way the journey progressed, it was still supportive. He just expressed an opinion and still allowed you to be. And I think that just shows the power of also parents in terms of how they impact the choices. So I'm happy to hear more about how you went into this faculty, and you are probably one or two, but tell us more about your experience at the university.
No, I will. But, I think the other thing is my father is also an educator. So he sort of understood. And for him, it was with all the good intentions he had. Now, when I went into the university, it wasn't much of a drama. I mean, because I was, for me, one thing is just don't dare me, because if you dare me, I'll do it. And because I didn't want I wanted to prove a point to my dad. I made sure I put my all in it to be successful. We were 13 girls and about 100 and something boys. But we did work together very well. And honestly, if I look at your pipe, most of my challenges were more when I was in corporate. That is when most of my challenges began. It wasn't back in school. Yeah, we knew 13 girls. It was known that girls are not okay. So maybe I go back to secondary school, where I also contested for my school those times on what we now call national science and math quiz. At that time, it was brilliant. Those of you who are old, you understand. It was brilliant science and math quiz, and it was a lot of intimidation for the girls' school at that time. It was really intimidating. I was on stage with Presec. You can imagine, for those who know Presec, it was very intimidating. So it was at that point, some of my colleagues decided they were not pursuing STEM because it was very intimidating. And it speaks to what you have just said. For me, I was very bent on doing this thing and going through and being, exploring to the best of my ability. And I think it's also because of the kind of parents I had. They were educated, they were enlightened, and so it made it easier for me. It wasn't much of a hassle. I had a few problems in university where a lecturer told me that he thinks I spend more time in the mirror more than on my books. But the grades didn't say so, and he was always, hating on me. But that was just one of those things. I didn't take it to heart. Fast forward, thankfully, immediately after school, I got a job at MTN. And one of the things that I want to point out here is building your competence. Unfortunately, what they teach us in school is very different from what we do when we get to the office. And so for me, I applied myself.
I did everything you can imagine an engineer would do. I did design, I did survey, I did implementation. I remember there was a tower on top of Silver Star. I climbed that tower, I installed the radio. I did all that because I wanted to have that experience. And competence is very, very important as a woman. Already, the fact that you are a woman, you know, there's already there's already a filter for you, right? So you need to work extra hard. And so for me, the first thing was building my competence. It was very, very important to me. If the path I chose was a transmission designer within the telecom space, and I did it to the max. I rose through the ranks. I became the CTO of Airtel, but also that didn't come without challenges. That is where my challenges began in the boardroom.
We are looking forward to hearing this part because it's the only part we haven't really discussed, which is one of the reasons we wanted to close with this fireside chat, because we are encouraging people to go all the way. And you did everything we talked about, like put yourself forward, skill up, be dynamic, be agile, take on tasks, volunteer, do everything you can so that at early career you pick up momentum. And then obviously you want to go to the next level, and it comes with a different kind of maneuver. So here is where now most people will say the job is too isolating. Did you find the job isolating, especially as you navigated to go to Airtel? Because I believe that was now the transition post your entry-level job where you acquired all this experience. How did you handle the part of this is too isolating, whether it's from friends, whether it's from family, whatever it is?
The job is too isolating, and I don't think it's even only in tech. I think it's with all women wanting to get somewhere on the corporate ladder. And the reason is that for you to get somewhere on the corporate ladder, you need to exert yourself. You need to put in all the effort. You need to, like you said, you need to show up. You need to take opportunities. You need to pick up tasks. There was a point where, because I was a woman, I was asked to stay back in the back office and let the boys go out. And I questioned my supervisor on that. Why? I also want to go out. And he said, you know what? And that is one of the advice that kept me. He said, what you do here, you are the brain. You are doing the brain work, because I was doing the designing, the planning, and then we give it to the boys to go and implement. They are just the legs. So focus on this and learn it. And I'm truly, truly appreciative of him for that advice. And that was Victor. I don't know if there's anybody here in MTN. That was in MTN at that time. So feeling isolated, yes, because at times, again, I give you an example here where, because I was at the back office, because I was picking up tasks, I was showing up, I wasn't waiting to be asked. Now it felt like, oh, she's sleeping with the manager. Yeah, I got that. What is between you and the manager? What is happening? And then I quickly got a raise. When the manager was, going on leave, I would act, and the rumors were rife that, the manager is my boyfriend. And at that time, I think I wasn't dating, I think. And so it got to me. I cannot lie. It got to me. But I tried to still focus on it. And those were some of the isolating moments, because I'm a woman, because I'm showing up and I'm seeing the benefits of showing up, it means that I'm sleeping with my manager. Those were some of the moments.
Yeah, and I think this is when it starts to get a bit political. You know what I mean? Like, as you are speaking, I remember there's this book which says, good girls never get the corner office. There's many things that say the navigation beyond when you have the skills, because it's no longer about the skills. It changes from competencies to other things. You may even have the soft skills, and sometimes when you apply them as a woman, they actually don't work for you. So you have to be a little bit of, balancing between how do I navigate this situation and what am I facing? Because like you're saying there, this is somebody who has identified this lady is good at her job. And we are depending on the design work that she's doing, and we are getting it right when these people go to the field. So I want to send them to the field to do the work, because when she does the plans, things work out right. So this is something that now your manager is dependent on. But suddenly, out of whatever, people decide they want to frame that to whatever they feel is convenient. And it's really tough, because then it can come with, HR policy issues. Sometimes we are voiceless. And I think it could cut both ways, because some people have also been, harassed, even sexually as they're doing the job by the same bosses, and they didn't have a voice. And I want to hear, did you have any support now from HR, or what are some of the tactics you used around this kind of challenge?
No, there was no support because it wasn't even formal. It was more rumors. And, you see through people's attitude, people casting insinuations. There was no HR support. I was really left on my own. And fate to prove that it wasn't true. But not long, I spent 3 years in MTN. And then actually in the process of acting for my manager, I got to meet Zane at the time, and then we had a meeting, and then they went back and said, "Oh, we want you to join us," and then they tripled my salary, and I left. And then
opportunity presented itself, and you were like, "It's time to jump ship."
Yeah. And then I left to Zane. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about how many people get derailed by these kinds of things, especially because when you're doing very well and you know that maybe it's something that you're building on, maybe you're not even ready for a move. You understand? Like you feel like this is what I want to build up on this. And it's a very difficult decision point. Did you have any mentors clearly you've been strong from the get-go. But I'm just thinking, we were here talking about mentors, have somebody to consult. Did you try to figure this by yourself? Did you use online resources? What are some of the things you did to really help you navigate?
So I didn't have mentors. I didn't even know what was mentorship at that time. But I did have friends that I could confide in. So, the kind of friends that you would go back home, call, and maybe have a 1-hour conversation on this is it. And they'll say, "Oh, don't worry, we know you," and all those kind of things. I didn't really have any formal mentorship. Again, as I said, my real challenges came in the C-suite. Surprisingly, I was a manager, I was a senior manager. It wasn't a problem. It was when I was in the C-suite, when I got to the C-suite. Now, to get there, I was told that I was not aggressive enough to be a CTO.
Was that in Zane or in another company?
That was, Zane sold to Airtel, so that was in Airtel. But okay, Airtel no longer exists. I can talk about it. So I was told, when it was time to be a CTO, I was told that I'm not aggressive enough. Okay, competency-wise, you are good, but you need to be aggressive. And so I asked them, what aggression for what? Are we in the boxing ring? Why do I need to be aggressive? And that's even infuriated them the more. The second thing I want to point out here is to be authentic, to be yourself. There is no two versions of yourself. And if you try to be somebody, you fail, you will flop, And the aggression, this comment was coming from the fact that my predecessor, who was a Nigerian, you can understand, and was a male Nigerian. And so they expected me to be the same, and I didn't. And so it took me a while, even though I was acting in that role, doing the job, fulfilling all duties, to be confirmed, over 6 months, which never happens. And then following that, my salary was also not increased, because they felt like, okay, you need this job so badly, And for me, I could have taken it badly. I could have, resigned, but I took it as a learning opportunity, and it has helped me. In every situation, and I'm also a person of faith. In every situation, I ask God, okay, in the human way, this could be bad, but what is the lesson for me? Show me the lesson. And for me, no matter how terrible I was, terrible things they did, I used the opportunity to learn. Today, I can put on my CV that I was a CTO, and I was a CTO. I understand the network, and that role of a CTO has taken me very, very far. Even though nobody knows that I never got the salary of a CTO at the time. And now I'm getting even more, than if I had fought them, if I had felt victimized, or if I had resigned. So, for me, every situation presents itself an opportunity for learning, and it was a very, very good opportunity for me.
I mean, I like that because if I'm getting you right, you're saying that I decided that this I can't learn in a classroom. I am going to learn through the experience. I'm going to put time to actually observe and see how I can build on. What am I hearing? What is the message? Because I want to go higher and higher. What is the message that I should learn to do so that in the next opportunity, I can actually be able to manage this? That's really good. But there's something you've talked about, these friends that you would call. And I think we're talking about support system. People who can understand your circumstances as a woman, your circumstances at this, C-suite level, and whatever it is that you mentioned, they can relate to it, or they can give a word of encouragement, or they can suggest a tip on something that you can apply. Just talk a bit about that support system. And as there was a presentation on self-care, part of self-care is actually having these people that you can actually vent out a bit and they give you really constructive feedback, but can consume the level at which you are. Because I think as you get to this, I don't know whether it happened when you were in your 40s, but my friends have been saying that, when you get into your 40s, you realize there's a whole game shift that's happening. Also because at your career level, there's, kind of the experience and the level at which you are. But I would love to hear more about, the support system from, your friends, but also, how you then can look at it today and say, at that level, what are some of the things that you can surround yourself with to be able to navigate? And what kind of patience helps? Because, we say too much patience is cowardice, but at what point do you,
Right. So in terms of support system, and again, to my Ghanaian ladies, I know we have a culture of priding ourselves in hard work. I have to cook myself. I have to wash. I have to do this. There is no pride in being tired. There is no pride in being tired. It's a waste of your resources. If you can afford it, outsource it. Let no man shame you into outsourcing cooking, outsourcing washing. Even if you can outsource, of course, the kids, you need to spend time with them. But if you can afford having a nanny, please take it because it helps. For me, support was very instrumental in my growth. Luckily, unfortunately for my mom, but luckily for me, I'm her only child. So once I started giving birth, she stopped working and came to me. So she was with me full time, taking care of my kids. Of course, we also had house help. So I had that strong support at home. I have an engineer husband. So he totally understands my work and he totally understands my frustration. So that's also another plus for me. But if you can outsource anything, and even then for me, it was a struggle transitioning at that time. Transitioning from, I have to cook for my husband, I have to take care of my kids. Even if I have a house help, I want to be the one to cook. Just be there and fetch water for me and all those things, and I'll cook. I was tired. I was wearing myself out. I would have to travel and I'll be feeling guilty. There is no believe me, for me, support has been good. Has been a central part of my growth.
I'm hearing you released yourself and actually realized that you can get the support you need across the domain and you can outsource it.
Yes, I mean when I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to let this lady cook full time, I realized So what was the issue? You know, it was just a cultural thing of feeling that responsibility of cooking for my husband. My husband didn't even care, you know. So support was very, very important. Then also, you know, societal demands can be very daunting. So maybe I'll just, you know, move fast forward a bit for this story. When I had to move to Rwanda, the first time I had to move to Rwanda, I mean, it was an opportunity finding for me. It wasn't even a job. I didn't have a job. I was I was fact finding. And in the fact finding, I had to go to Rwanda. So I picked up my bag, went there 5 days. And everybody that I met asked me, so how about the kids and your husband? But if my husband had traveled, would you have asked him how about the your wife and the kids? You know, and fast forward when I got the job and I had to leave them for about a year. Of course, I was going and coming. Every person who called me, the first question is, hey, so who is taking care of your kids? Is the man not their father? You know, if the father had gone, nobody would ask him that who is taking care of your kids. So I think these are some of the things that we need to let go of because they are unnecessary societal pressure. For me, my husband has been a fantastic support in my support system. He was there throughout all these changes. So he knew all the cries and all the frustrations. And then my mom, and of course, I seek help when I want to. Even at work, as women, we are tempted to do everything. Outsource it, delegate, let people do it, empower people to do it. So you can have time to, you know, focus on strategy.
That's absolutely true. And you just spoke to, like, now, how does somebody transition from, you know, the managerial level, for example, to C-suite? Because C-suite is very demanding. And to be honest, you wouldn't transition there without support, because if you want to have your family, you want to have, you know, many different things, you can do it without support. And some of that support means that you have to delegate things that you probably have held very personally. And so you just spoke to, this job isn't flexible enough for me and my family, and how people maneuver. And I have seen that most people who are actually able to do that, they delegate and they also get a lot of support. And I think there's a whole mental process there, because by the time you agree with yourself that you're ready to do it, and it empowers you and it empowers even your children, it helps. So now you're at senior leadership. And I want us to conclude and say, after that, people say, you know, you live for purpose, like when you're in retirement. And I know it's something that you keep on touching in your different ways, even like what you're doing right now, is just paying it forward. So what are some of the things that cement your ability to, you know, be in that C-suite, be in that executive team, be in boards, but at the same time, still be able to connect with, you know, what you're now feeling like, I've done all this in my career. There are things that I feel I should do for the society. How do you, because I think that gives you fulfillment and it helps you like kind of almost plan for your retirement. How do you connect that? How do you transition that? Because I think every role requires fulfillment. You need to feel fulfilled. Yeah.
So for me, it's giving back, you know, to not to society, but to women. And that's something that I do with a lot of passion because believe it or not, I am a product of mentorship. Even though it came late, it was, I always mention her name, Lucy. Lucy is the one who saw a lot of, you know, C-suite potential in me and pulled me out of my shell. It was very painful when she was pulling me out of my shell because I was the techie. I just want to do my job and go. And she said, no, I'm going to, you know, put you here. She took me through a lot of mentorship that I didn't ask for, you know, and because of that, I feel like I owe it to pay it forward. And so, for instance, I instituted something called Smart Cafe within Smart Africa, and that's a mentorship coaching session within Smart Africa. But it's a concept that we're also planning to bring out through our project on smart women and girls. And that's something that I do passionately. On the other side, I also mentor a lot of women and now men. And now men, I have about 3 men that I mentor. And what you said, what makes me show up? I missed that question.
No, just like how the motivation, because you've moved from different stages. We were laughing about high achievers. I mean, because to grow this way, you that's really achievement.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about how high achievers somehow, it's like we can't stop. But I'm just saying that most of the time they are planning like, what will I do
Next, yeah.
Yeah, what will I do next year? But no, what will I do post this stage that will give me fulfillment? Which part of even the work you're doing, even if it's work, because of the impact it can have on Africa, it's really part of the things that you want to do. You want to be part of the impact. You want your skills to impact the society, to impact the continent. So I was saying that because I think it's very important that as you go through the journey and you realize I can do another PhD, or I can do 5 more, you now start to connect with the higher purpose that now helps you to transition and also stabilize and also make you choose the environment you want to work in.
Got it. Yeah. Right. So I'm not sure if I'm there yet. I always ask, people ask me, how did I arrive or how did I choose my career? And you would see that from my story, a lot of them were coincidence. But looking back, it looks designed. And I still haven't connected with my higher purpose. I'm still finding it. However, what gives me satisfaction now is to help people, So most of my projects in Smart Africa are things that are helping people move forward in life. So it's mentorship, it's supporting women, it's scholarship, and it's devices. And so if you see the passion with which I speak to these development finance agencies, I'm easily able to attract funds because of the passion. And I feel like that is, that may be the direction I haven't connected yet, though, to the higher purpose. I'm still looking for it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think we've come to the end and we've walked a whole journey. There might be questions from the audience, comments, and we can take 1 or 2 if they're there. There's one here. And actually another one behind.
So as we wait for the questions, I also wanted to highlight, apart from building your competency, outsourcing, please network. Please network. It's very, very unusual for us as women to network because we're in a hurry to go and cook food for our husbands. Please, one day, let him also cook and go for that networking session.
Thank you very much. My name is Rukayat. I work with DDS, that's Dynamic Data Solutions, as a NOC support engineer. So thank you very much, Madam Thelma. Your story is really inspiring and it's always almost like mine. Like I have the same thing going on when I was going to school. It's like, what are you coming to do in mechanical class? You are even a Muslim. One Alaji will come and marry you, then you'll be in the kitchen. Then I look at them like this, what are you talking about? Then I smile. My mom was like, you are not a man. I gave birth to you to be a woman. You have to go and do medicine. And I said, no, this is what I want to do. I'm so inspired. And today, I haven't gotten to where she is today, but with the journey, I'm so happy at where I am right now too. So my question is, with the age 11 science stroke maths, every day in, day out, I have this kids in my area. When I'm always on my laptop, then they'll be like, Auntie, what are you always doing on your laptop? I have some guys who goes to my husband, they'll be like, what does your wife do? She's always on her laptop and she's serious. Then my husband will be like, what do you think she's doing? Or maybe she's a scammer. Then I smile. Then she'll be like, oh, she's an engineer. They say, oh, wow, then you are lucky. So this student comes to me and be like, okay, we want to do something like us, but the maths and the calculations, we can't, especially the girls. Then I'll be like, maths and science is not difficult. I don't know how I'm going to explain it to you. But today, as you are sitting here, I want to ask you, how am I going to explain to these kids that these calculations are not difficult when you are motivated or you inspire yourself that, yes, I can do this? Because along my journey from GSS, my mom used to be my math teacher. From school, I come home, she take me through math. So I was so good with math. And she feel like, okay, science is good for you, but you are not doing engineering. So I don't know how I'm going to speak to these kids. Like right now, my company have also nominated me for mentorship. So I'm going to speak to the young girls. But how am I going to tell them this, that when they ask me a question, what about science and math? How am I going to explain it to them? That this is not difficult, you can do it. Thank you very much.
Right. So I started out as a knock engineer, by the way. So yeah, I found it a bit too mundane, and I asked to be changed. So yeah. I'll tell you a story on a certain girl. So when I was a CTO, I used to do STEM rounds in schools. And one, I went to a school, and when I introduced myself as an engineer, the girl laughed and fell down. She was 8 years old at the time. She was in class 3 or so. She laughed because she said her dad is a mechanic, like a mechanic, yeah. And he's always in a chair, and her mom is a beautician. And for her, this is the standard for a woman. It's either you're a beautician, and a woman can never be an engineer. So then I took my time to explain to her that, first of all, she is as brilliant as the boy. Brilliance has no gender. In fact, if we want to put gender on brilliance, I think women are more brilliant. So I made sure to take her and also show her women who are engineers, who are wearing GS. Vision is very important. When they see, they believe. So these children, and I'm glad that you have a mentorship opportunity. Show them videos of women who are engineers. Show them people they know in the society who are even doctors. And you never know, they might be interested to go and do science. The girl is now doing science in AIS. Yeah. So.
All right. So, Thelma, thank you so much. I think your story has been very inspiring for me in particular. I just glanced through your LinkedIn page and I noticed you did a short article about mom girls. So I'm very curious, since we have you here in person, to just listen to what your insights are about that. And then my second question is, as a mom of young kids myself, we are in this time where there's a lot of focus on STEAM, science, technology. How do you manage the expectation to allow your own children to also carve their own path whilst giving them the support they need? Thank you.
Thank you. So the thing of STEAM or STEM, as I always say, is not to make every child a coder or an engineer. It's just to give them a certain fundamental that helps them be logical, that helps them understand basics, that also helps them to be critical, to have critical thinking, and that helps them to be innovative. Because the workplace of the future, and it's here now, whether you are in engineering, you're an accountant, you're a teacher, some way, somehow, you're going to use tech. Some way, somehow, you would have to understand what tech is. So it's the idea of ensuring that STEM, we have STEM at the basics, is not really to make them in future engineers. My first daughter says she wants to be a tennis player. We are helping her to do the tennis that she wants to play, but alongside, she has to understand the basics of tech and all those things. So I think as parents, we need to be also open. Please don't force all your children to be engineers. Some of them will be teachers and every other thing. Now, mom guilt. As I sit here, I'm suffering from mom guilt. because my family is in Kigali, and I have a 4-year-old who is calling me every now and then. She was calling me as I sit here. But I've also come to learn that when you put in systems, it's much bearable. So, for instance, when I'm away, I make sure I call them, two times a day, in the morning before they go to school, in the evening before they sleep. I have, luckily, my husband is able to work from home, so he's always there with them. We have, a good support system. It comes back to the good support system. But ultimately, I also learned that really, mom guilt is more about me than the kids, because the kids, they thrive. Kids really thrive. I mean, they will do a few skirmishes here and there, but they thrive with or without you. So it's something that I'm still dealing with, but I have had ways of, dealing with it.
Hello, Madam Thelma. So my name is Priscilla Nyakwam, and I am a network support engineer at BDS to previously dimension data. So I really enjoyed your story, especially because you did electrical engineering and then you were doing designing and planning. It means you did a lot of learning on your own, because I know you were not taught all that in school. So currently, I have already done my CCNA, but I'm looking forward to going into network security and then the designing and the planning. But I felt like because I'm not so good with drawing, I don't even know where to start from. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the tools you use? What are some of the things that you did to be able to help you to design a whole network and then plan for it to be implemented and it works very well?
So for me, my first tool was asking questions. Sometimes you ask people questions and you can see that they are irritated, but you need to develop that skill of not absorbing their energy, because you need to learn. So it's important to ask a lot of questions. But for you as well, there are a lot of tools online. I don't specifically know for CCNA or for the route that you want to go to. But most of the tools that I used were in-house. They were built in-house in MTN and in Airtel. So they are not generic tools that I could share with you. However, there are fundamentals to it. If you went to LinkedIn Learning, there are a lot of fundamentals that you can even learn the basics. And these days, YouTube has a lot of information as well, right? It's for you to get the fundamentals so you can apply it to any other tool that you got. But the critical thing for me was asking questions and showing up. You want to install this router. Okay, can I help you? That's how I learned.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't see any other hand. So, Thelma, we want to thank you so much for your presentation, for your story. And I can just see how that has, brought a lot of, really rich questions. We had an online audience. I don't think we have a question online. We don't have. Yeah. So thank you so much. We have.
Thank you.
And continue with your impact work. We're very proud of you because, as Africa, when I see your portfolio, when I saw it the first time, which was last year, I felt that, the impact part is going to happen, because sometimes the commercial discussions are driving everything, but the good of the society, I think, when you say we should be at the table, I think that's what it means. Thank you so much and all the best. So we've come to the end of our program. Thank you so much for your time, your patience. We also thank God for the rain, which may have allowed us more time. But we are so happy to be here in Ghana. We are thankful to the online audience, the teams, everybody who supported us. I really just want to thank our AfChix team members, Ivy and Barbara, who really helped us to put this together. And then we had a local team from Ghana, Georgina and Maud and Felicia from Ghana with the support of the local community. We want to thank you so much. We have and the audience, this would not have happened without us. And then our sponsors and also the partnership of the AF Star organizations. We want to do this more. We were not doing this physically because, we are all recovering from the side effects of, avoiding physical meetings. But like somebody said in the audience, it makes a difference when people get together. So we want to just thank you so much. Everything that's been covered here really is a summary of what we wanted to talk about. And I thank all the speakers for all the time. And we're going to share the materials in ways that, if you want to consult these materials later, you can have access to them. So thank you, and you're welcome to a cup of tea. Before we go for the cup of tea, I still have one gift to our lovely MC. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the cup of tea and many more opportunities. Please meet someone and remember somebody you can reach out to. Yeah. Thank you, Thelma.